Welcome to the Legendary Upside podcast and YouTube feed. My name is Pat Kerrane. You can follow my content at legendaryupside.com. With me today, Rich Hribar. Reebs, how's it going?
It's good, man. I'm waiting. I've been waiting all week for the surprise. So, let me know. I'm still even as an adult. I love getting presents and like stuff. So like Christmas time's coming. I love surprises.
So this will be a few games in. I'll
All right.
reveal the surprise. So a couple hours from now, you'll you'll know. But we're gonna be diving into the Week 12 slate for our Angles and Upside podcast. Um, Digging into the specifics of each game. I write the walkthrough over at Legendary Upside, where I go game by game breaking down these games, and Rich has the worksheet over at Sharp Football Analysis, where he does the same thing, breaking down these games, looking at trends, trying to figure out which game environments we like, who's going to go off. Helpful for DFS, season long, whatever you're doing. Reeves, anything to cover before we dive into the games?
No, had my literal worst week of the season last week, so I'm ready to brush it off, man.
I
I
didn't
don't
have
know
a great week
how are
either.
you. How are you when you like do like the walkthrough? Because it's hard to explain to people like when you how much time this stuff actually takes, and that's not looking for sympathy. But when you invest that much time and then you do bad, do you have trouble bouncing back, or you look forward to like I got to get back on the horse again?
It depends. So, like last week, I didn't have a great week. I had a bad week in DFS, and I think I really liked in the walkthrough. I really liked the Arizona stuff. And my take was basically is like, probably just play Michael Wilson, not these other guys. But I didn't really play that much Michael Wilson. I had some Michael Wilson actually in DFS. I pivoted off of it, late swap stuff, because I like Josh Jacobs a lot, right? Who got hurt.
Yeah, and he got hurt.
Um, so yeah, this week I was kind of like not looking forward to writing everything up, but then I had one of my most productive early parts of the week. Like I was just like things were actually cooking. So I was like, oh, this is nice because when you sit down to write it, you don't like know what's going to happen.
No.
And you need like a force needs to hit you where you're like, oh, I'm really writing some words right now. And then like that, then that'll fade. And then you kind of like you still write, it's just like much slower.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it kicks in, you're like, all right. So I had a few of those moments, and I wonder if subconsciously it's because I had a bad week in week 11, and that was me getting back on the horse that way. So I don't know, but yeah, it depends on the week, I guess.
Yeah. I'm like someone that's like conscious of like I hate like failing people, like,
For sure.
and so like when I brick something, it's like I don't really. It's not the impact it had on me. It's like how it impacts everyone else, and I'm just like, oh, I let all these people down. Like, how am I even gonna like come back to work the next day? Like,
Yeah, the big one for me was I wasn't into the Bills stuff last week, and I benched in a league that I needed a win. I benched Josh Allen for Drake May. So I
Wow.
suffered the pain that I caused as well. But then I do feel better that Josh Allen lost last night and didn't look good. So and then they lost to Davis Mills because they played so conservatively and all stuff. I'm like, all right, well, I wasn't crazy, but I definitely underestimated, what they could look like if pushed, which it was definitely an oversight. So I was into Lamar last week, and I was into Mahomes last week. So there was a few different things we missed on, but we hit on some stuff too. wasn't
Yeah.
terrible. I just wish I played the stuff I was more like. I wish I played more of the
Yeah.
Cardinals, which we liked. We both liked that game environment a lot. So, but yeah, hopefully we actually we find some good stuff and then we put it in our own lineups this week.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. All right, let's kick things off with the Giants at Lions. This game I was really excited about when I thought Jackson Dart was going to play.
Yeah.
Um, he is not going to play. He did not clear the concussion protocol. We are back to Jameis Winston. Winston played well last week. That wasn't really a big concern, and it was against the Packers, tough matchup. They get a decently tough matchup this week, although the Lions have some injuries on the back end in the secondary this week. So I would say it's a little bit of an easier matchup than the Packers, although both are good defenses. My concern is that do the Giants pass with Jameis Winston under center? Because last week they went very conservative. This is Mike Kafka's first game as the head coach, and we saw the first game with Jameis Winston under center. And we've seen like Jameis Winston, I've got the pass rates here. They dropped to 47% last week with a 64% expected pass rate. That's very, very conservative. And they were very conservative on first down, minus 22%. Pass rate of expected, minus 17% overall. This could be just a Packers matchup thing. It could be them hiding Jameis Winston, though, and they're going to have Jameis Winston again. So that's the part that has me a little nervous. At the same time, they're going to be trailing in this game in all likelihood.
Mm-hmm.
Are they, going to let Jameis loose a little bit against a Lions team? They'll be a lot more aggressive than the Packers, right? They're not be able to hang around like they were against the Packers. So it's a thinner setup now for this game because you don't know what the Giants are going to bring to the table with Jameis, how aggressive they'll be. But Jameis did play well last week. You do have some interesting options on the Giants side, particularly Wan'Dale Robinson, who can kind of rack up catches in negative game script. And the Lions, I mean, they have a huge game total or team total, implied team total of 30.25 when I wrote it up, thinking that it was going to be Dart, and it's up to 31.25 now. So it's not like anyone's losing faith in the Lions' ability to score points here. Just might be maybe tilted more to the running game than the passing game than it might have been. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, when I kind of came away with the pass rate below expectation stuff, I didn't know if it was just a hodgepodge of like the wind, they were having success, or Jameis Winston, because Jameis, while he still played well, he still had the highest turnover worthy throw rate for anybody that played the whole game last week. If you watch that game, the Packers could have had 4 interceptions at
Yeah.
minimum.
Yeah.
And they did squeeze one at the end, but I mean, I think Valentine had 2. It was just like he read the play perfectly. It just didn't catch the ball. So I thought it was just a combination of things, but did ultimately still come away. Well, I pulled out Dart this morning. Up until today, I thought Dart still was going to play, and then this
Me
morning
too.
kind of
Yeah.
made the adjustments. I was excited for Dart too in this game because there was a lot of ways to play through this game where you could have done like Dart plus Lion stuff, and any of the games Dart's played, like they found their way to points too. Even though they would like it wouldn't be like completely even. Like they are a great first drive team, and they were a good first drive team with Jameis last week too. And then they go a couple drives where they can't score, and then also Tyrone Tracy was running well last week too. So that was just like a combination of things. But here,
The Packers are a team that opponents are running against at a pretty high rate. So
and they
that could
play
be
slow too, which is like allows you to kind of like just keep the game close against the Packers. They play a lot closer games than they should for their
they play
talent level.
way closer game because they're too conservative on offense that let
Yes.
teams hang around. But the last 3 opponents, the Panthers had a 43% pass rate, minus 15% PROE. The Eagles were at 50%, minus 11% PROE, and then the Giants 47%, minus 17%. So the Packers have a pretty good pass defense. People aren't respecting the run defense, and I don't think they're respecting the offense in the sense that the offense isn't fully unleashed. So you can just kind of stick around, hang around in 1-score games and win those games, right? We're 2 or 3
Yeah.
of those teams won the game against the
Well,
Packers. So
especially if you're the worst team, like like the Panthers and Browns beat him because you just let if the variance swings in your favor. Like,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So it could be the type of thing that looks like very much like a matchup related issue,
Mhm.
and they do air it out this week. But it's something to consider when you think of the game.
Yeah, I think I'll ultimately just be pressed because the Lions, obviously Lions at home like never sneak up on anyone, and then what
Yeah,
the Lions do offensively are like all the things the Giants are bad at defensively. Like they're the worst
they're the worst run
defense
defense.
in terms of EPA. So
Yeah,
they're bad at that. They're also just terrible against like the play action under center game because they play so
yeah.
much man. They play aggressive defense. They play like hyper aggressive defense. Play a lot of man coverage. So it's just like that's what the Lions do: under center, play action, run the football. So it's like everything the Lions want to do, they're just gonna be able to do, and it's gonna push the Giants into this game state where even if they want to run Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary, they're just not gonna be able to, and they're gonna have to eventually let Winston drop back a lot.
I think you're right, and I hope you're right because the thing, like, obviously, we'll get to the run game on the Lions side because they're set up very well here. But the part that I'm most excited about is actually the play action stuff and the
Mhm.
man coverage stuff, where you get St. Brown. He had a 41% double coverage rate that he faced against the Eagles, the second highest of the season. And the highest of the season was against the Packers at 45%. he had a 1.07 yards per route run against the Packers, 1.14 against the Eagles. Taking St. Brown away is possible if you try hard enough, and is pretty effective, right? The Detroit offense does not work nearly as well if Goff doesn't have that safety blanket. But I don't think that the Giants are going to be able to do that. I'm not even sure they try, because they don't play they don't double cover a lot. They also play man coverage at the second highest rate in the league, behind only the Browns. And against man
static
coverage,
too. They're not one of these teams that like oscillate week to week.
yeah. I mean, they're not. I don't think this DC's here next year, right? So, St. Brown had a targets per out run against man of 40.5%, which is the highest in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Puka Nacua are the next three, but CeeDee Lamb's like 4% lower, 36%. So he's just getting peppered with targets against man. I think he's set up for a huge game here if the Lions get pushed at all. Jameson Williams has been productive against man coverage, 2.56 yards per out run, but just a 19% targets per out run. So same story with him. It's like the targets are tougher to count on. He looks fun anytime he gets targeted, but he doesn't earn targets that well. So, Williams to me is like a higher upside version of the same type of play he always is. But Brock Wright last week had 64% route participation. So he didn't even run all the routes. 16% targets per out run, which is not horrible, but not good, and 0.32 yards per out run. So Laporta being pulled out of this offense looks to really be condensing things. Khalif Raymond had 56% route participation, wasn't targeted. Tesla had 44%, had one target, didn't catch it. So this does seem to be condensing to St. Brown and Williams, and an awesome matchup for the passing game, as long as they need to pass at all. First half here, maybe some first half overs. I haven't checked any of these lines, but you could do worse than first half Lions passing game overs. Thoughts on the passing game?
Yeah, love all this stuff. I mean, Amon-Ra, the man coverage stuff is great. We love, I mean, he has 46% of the team targets in the red zone too. So he always has a touchdown equity, especially when you move a guy from Laporta from the red zone. It's a nice big boost for him. He's been awesome in every home game too. It's everything, you don't really need us to tell you like Amon-Ra is a good play. It's just all this icing on the cake stuff is in his favor this week in terms of matchup. It's where everything was a negative last week, kind of going into the Eagles game. Everything is just like extra here, extra juicy. And then you love the play action stuff probably for this game for the opportunity that Jameson Williams is getting now. And it goes back just beyond just the Dan Campbell changeover in terms of play calling. We had seen a little bit of this before, but he now over the past 5 weeks, 28% of his targets have come on crossing routes, 21% on in routes. And then over the opening 5 weeks of the season, it was 14% target rate on crossers, 12% on in-breaking routes. He goes from a 20.8 ADOT down to a 9.7 ADOT. So it's like, he was just being forced to live on a diet of targets that just isn't like going to be successful in today's NFL anyways. And Jared Goff isn't even like that great on throwing those downfield throws anyways. So now he's getting all the stuff Jared Goff's good at. He's getting it off play action, because all that in-breaking stuff is now where you're sucking the linebacker up and you're hitting him on those digs and stuff. So we like that if it's to be man coverage, because if he catches one of those, you saw like last week, you can't keep up with them across the field. So yeah, wheels up on those guys. I think the core guys are all in play. Brock Wright's like a break glass in emergency case if you need him, and it's very thin. Like we just haven't really seen him be a good player going back to anytime Laporta. Go ahead.
I'm not even sure, like for DFS, he's really that interesting. I mean, he certainly could do it with Goff, but
he's just a punt.
He's just a punt, and he's not. I don't want to like quibble too much with the price, but he's 3,000. I'm like, like that's a little expensive for Brock Wright, isn't it? Like I'm on 27.
Yeah, can I get 25?
Yeah, 25. I mean, I really want 25, but I would do 27. But it's just like, what am I? I mean, we'll talk about the other tight ends, but there's some like cheap tight ends this week that I feel better about.
Again, and if you're even punting him, like you're outright either doing it just because you want to squeeze McBride in, or if you're not playing McBride, and then you're just like, all right, well then what's the rest of your roster look like?
Totally.
McBride since week 6 only Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor have scored more points than Trey McBride. So it's like, so
The
that's
what if he catches touchdowns? It was actually pretty good. It really was that simple for Trey McBride this summer. What if he catches touchdowns?
well, everything's
Gotcha.
broke his way, right? Like, they're playing in like these crazy game scripts now, because they're in like these oh shit game phases, as Hilo
Yep.
always calls them. Like they've been getting blown out. So he's getting all these late game targets. You had the changeover at quarterback to, not because it's not just like you favor Brissett versus Kyler. It's because when Brissett's in the game, they play more under center and play more play action, which helps McBride. And then Marvin Harrison's like missed not just these last week's game, and he's gonna miss this week's game, but like he left the game early with a concussion. Like everything just worked out like perfect. Like it's a perfect storm.
We'll get to him. He's very.
But I'm saying, like, that's, if you're playing Brock Wright and you're punting, it means you're foregoing like a really good tight end this week.
Yeah,
and it's just like or you're punting to squeeze in McBride, and like I just don't. He doesn't really just fit.
No, he doesn't. The Lions running backs are set up here extremely well. David Montgomery, there's a quote that Dan Campbell wanted to get Montgomery more involved. He also had a line that he wanted to even the backfield out back about a month ago. That was after the Chiefs game when Montgomery fell to 17% of the carries. He fell to 29% against the Eagles. I believe Campbell here. I think he wants to even things back out, but I think he actually wants to even things back out. I don't think he wants Montgomery to be like the lead back. 2 weeks ago, things were exactly even. We had a 45% carry share for Montgomery and Gibbs. Gibbs nuked against the Commanders with 15 carries. He also had a 13% target share. So I'm not worried about the idea. It's not ideal. I wish they would just feed Gibbs, 30 touches. That would be awesome. Right. But, it's not the play. The play is that he's super efficient. He's going against the worst run defense in the league. He's going to have like 15 plus touches, I would say. Montgomery is also going to have, somewhere between 10 and 17 touches, right? Like they're gonna feed these guys. They're gonna be ahead. They have a massive implied team total. I think both these guys are in play for DFS. I mean, obviously Gibbs is very much in play, but Montgomery has some pretty good touchdown equity here, I'd say. And I don't think Campbell is BSing here. I think he does want to get Montgomery more touches than he had against the Eagles, which should be easy enough in this matchup. So like flexing David Montgomery in season long, I think this is the week to do it if that's something you do sometimes.
Oh yeah, I think this would be the kind of game script. You still need the TUDs from him because we even saw that game against Washington. I mean, he had 16 touches in that game, but you only got
71 yards on the ground, no touchdown.
You got hollow production.
Yeah.
What I really like from the last 2 weeks though from Campbell, because I totally with you, like, because I think it'll be like closer to 50-50, or like how it was last year, while both guys are healthy. But I really like that Campbell has gotten Gibbs involved in the screen game again. Both games we've seen Gibbs in space in the screen game. Seems pretty obvious that you'd want to do this at least once per quarter. I'd call it Jahmyr Gibbs screen, because the dude is so good in space last week, both games. So I like that too, because Gibbs early in the season had like really weird receiving usage, like where it wasn't consistent. He wasn't getting like a lot of those in space targets. It was more like check down stuff.
Check downs, and the Packers, he had a ton of check downs, but wasn't. Yeah,
we want those in space, the designed plays to him where, because they sometimes run even like that. It's not like a pure screen, but they get it where Penei Sewell's out in front and they get him on like that swing, and that's what we want. Those are the plays we want Jahmyr Gibbs on.
We've seen Campbell experiment with who's calling plays. What if they bring in Rico Dowdle and he calls the plays?
Yeah, that's what we need. Yeah,
he's the screen game king. He knows exactly when to call.
I love it, man. Listen to your coaches.
For people who don't know, that Josh Norris tweeted out a clip from Rico Dowdle mic'd up, which Dowdle called his own number on that screen pass that he almost scored on and stepped out of bounds. It's a very, very fun clip. But yeah, this is a great spot to. I mean, the the run defense is kind of the headline here, but they're not good against the pass either. So get Gibbs involved however you want. On the Giants side, just as far as the weapons go, I'm not that into the running backs. And if I break a tie to Tracy here because he's more involved as a receiver, but he has 0.98 yards per out run. He's not like Scatterbo was at 1.54. He had a 22% targets per out run. He was pretty exciting as a receiver. Tracy's kind of just like filling the role. I don't have a ton of interest in him. Wandale's kind of the guy where last week he had 100% route participation, which he's had 3 different times this year, all since Neighbors was hurt, and he had a 29% targets per out run, which ties his season high. He had a 26% first read target rate, which is a season high. So the production wasn't there, but just 1.16 yards per out run. But he's set up for a ton of targets here, like a ton of targets. So I think he's a very viable DFS play. Someone I want to think about if I'm doing line stuff for sure. I mean, Jameis is pretty cheap too, so you could. There are crazier things. Not a priority by any means, but yeah, that he's kind of interesting here to me. And then Theo Johnson always in play for a touchdown, I guess.
Yeah, Wando has at least 25% of the team targets in 6 of the past 8 games. You know, you always with him is just like, you know, how much ceiling are you going to squeeze out of him? But the targets are consistently there for him. He'd be the one guy I would say, at least, like, you know, at least he's going to get the targets. Then you just let the fantasy deities take over the wheel, and it's like, hey, maybe they're going to be something here in this game. They're going to have to throw. It's indoors. If you're looking to bring anyone back, I think it would be him. We don't know if Slayton's going to play yet. I didn't see this morning if they ruled him out or not. They didn't use Isaiah Hodgins, brought him back and used him last week. I don't know if that's just a one-off, because a couple weeks ago, remember, they had the Ray McLeod thing, and then that was completely moot and didn't mean anything going forward. So I think it just pretty much be Wandale. In season long, I think you're fine playing Theo, probably in DFS. I'm just not going to get there because we're going to talk about all these tight ends, and it's just like, and then you have the big McBride, you know, question. So
also, like, Theo it seems to me that Dart has really been looking for him. Is like without Dart, I don't have a lot of interest in Theo. So yeah, I think it's kind of Wandale.
Yeah, he'd be the only guy in DFS. Like I said, if you have to play Theo in your season long stuff, I think you hope you always week to week with him, you just hope he scores a touchdown. That's like where he lives. He's had like really one good game without a touchdown this season. That's really it. I mean, he has 3 or fewer receptions in 7 of his past 9 games. He's gone over 40 yards twice. You need those touchdowns.
Yep. All right, let's go to the Colts at Chiefs. And in honor of the Colts, who kicked this off in the first place, we're gonna label them our wagon of the week.
This is our wagon, baby. The wagon of the week.
The team's just rolling right now. This team is just, they're a wagon.
They are fucking wagon. We're gonna have a nice little picnic, load that wagon up. Like, we're gonna, whatever you need to put in that wagon.
They're a wagon.
Yeah, this is our wagon of the week, baby. What does that mean? What does wagon mean? I love it. What a clip. And getting that C hat in there is important.
Yeah, the C hat is pretty good. I was very thankful you had that on today as well.
Always. Oh, I love it, man. That, I assume that was the gift, right? That was a surprise.
Yeah.
I love it.
Surprise. That's a surprise. The Colts, I don't even know if they really are the wagon of the week, but like, the Colts are the original wagon. So
that's who started it.
Had to kick them off as the wagon of the week. The Lions could be the wagon of the week, but to me, a wagon, right? You need to be rolling, and the Lions are more of a bounce back team. So I think the Colts probably fit the definition a little bit more, and they're rolling into the Chiefs here, who are struggling, and you get the Colts with a difficult matchup, but they're coming off, you know, the big overtime win over the Falcons, and Jonathan Taylor. I mean, maybe the wagon of the week isn't the Colts, it's Jonathan Taylor.
The wagon of the season. Didn't talk about a dude that's been a wagon. Like, fantasy gamers, him on bye last week. If you faced against the team that had him, you were like, yes. Yes.
It's crazy. Yeah. My advance rates went up last week with Jonathan Taylor on bye. It tells you I don't have enough Taylor.
Oh yeah, big regrets. That pocket of Chase Brown and Bucky Irving over Jonathan Taylor.
I loved Bucky. That's and I love McBride. So that's been that hurts a little less now. But Taylor, man.
I was never anti-Taylor. I just did not.
Me neither.
I didn't picture this Daniel Jones doing this.
I didn't either. But we are starting to see a little bit of chinks in the armor here.
Mhm.
Daniel Jones has started turning the ball over a little bit, took some sacks. He was bad against the Steelers. He was kind of inconsistent, or he wasn't bad enough to tank them completely against the
Right.
Falcons. But this is a pretty tough matchup, I would say. Not like really tough, but what are your thoughts on the Chiefs defense and their ability to slow down the wagon of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just on the surface, you have to have some trepidation of Daniel Jones in Arrowhead against Steve Spagnuolo. Like just those sentences, like those words combined, don't make me feel warm.
Mm-mm.
And then
Mm-mm.
then you talk about that was if he was running hot, and like the last two games we started to see a little bit of that. 7 turnovers and 12 sacks the last 2 games. Like, like I said, you just don't feel that great. And the weird thing about this, so this is what I think makes this game so fascinating, is all season long, the Indianapolis Colts have been a team that throw to get ahead, and then they just run you into
Yeah.
the ground at Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Is that how they're going to approach going on the road to the Chiefs? Are they going to try to throw on the Chiefs to get ahead, or are they going to now say, are they going to flip and say, hey, our quarterback's not playing his best football going into this game? We have Jonathan Taylor. Do we want to try to slow the Chiefs down with Jonathan Taylor? It's just, and I don't have the answer. I'm just, walking through like things that, that can go on here. But it's just like, I don't know if they really want to come out and just try to wing the ball around against the Chiefs. And then that's an interesting dynamic. Because then if they don't and they're not successful, like what happens? It's like we just haven't seen them play that way right now. So that's what I think is most interesting about
Well,
this game.
so we have seen them. They've been aggressively pass first on or pass heavy on 1st and 10 pretty much
Yep.
all
And
year.
then the Atlanta game, yeah.
And then the Atlanta game, they pivoted to the run overall as well. So they had a season low -6% PROE. And that's after they kind of had to lean on the pass against the Steelers in a way that they like definitely don't want to, right?
No.
Taylor did not get going against Pittsburgh, and they had to put the game on Daniel Jones's shoulders. He got exposed. Like that's the nightmare scenario. And then
Because
the
if you
following
get
game,
them, I'm sorry, yeah, if you get them out of their play action game, that's when
right,
everything starts to fall apart here.
right. So the following week they really prioritized the run more, and it wasn't great as far as Jones goes, but they won the game at least. So I I also have that same question of like, what do the Colts look like this week? The Chiefs aren't like a shutdown run defense, but they're not an easy team to run against. Then again, you have Jonathan Taylor, so
You have
maybe they
Jonathan
are.
Taylor.
Maybe they are for the Colts. Um, so yeah, I mean, then on the other side of this game, I have questions about what the Chiefs are going to do. Like Travarius Ward looks like he's going to return for this game. He's been practicing in full. Um, we don't know for sure with the concussion until we get the word, but it does seem like he's returning. He's been awesome this year. He's an impact player, especially with Sauce Gardner. Like to have Sauce Gardner and Ward together on the outside, like that is just that's tough. That's a really tough matchup for the Chiefs, especially for Xavier Worthy. Their ability, they've been doing this stuff where they're like chucking it downfield. Mahomes looks really off. He's nowhere near these receivers, but that issue, like the outside ability to kind of challenge deep, is going to be worse this week, if anything. And I think Rasheed Rice could be okay. He's probably going to get some Kenny Moore in the slot. I think there's going to be a decent amount of like second, third read type stuff, or Mahomes, the pass rush here isn't great. Mahomes should have time to throw. He's kind of looking around, doing the thing where he like somehow able to go around, look at the other side of the field, find Travis Kelsey completely uncovered because no one covers him anymore. And I think we're going to have plenty of that. But the success rate for the Chiefs recently has been way down. 13th percentile against the Bills, 22nd percentile against the Broncos. And my concern would be just kind of that same sort of stop start type of thing that we've seen with the Chiefs recently and against an elite secondary if Ward's back. So, like, I have questions about what both offenses look like here, given kind of the challenges of this matchup.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Big Lou does too. You know, Big Lou's always had something for Mahomes. So when those Bengals teams always played him pretty tough, even when they didn't have the best defenses. He, in previous iterations, would do a lot like what Sean McDermott did a couple weeks ago, where, you know, we're not going to really rush. We're going to drop a lot of guys in coverage. We want you to hold the football. But we saw in their first game with Sauce Gardner, and he was only with the team less than a week. They played their highest rate of man coverage in a game this season. Just they were at 42%. Now you're getting Charvarius Ward back, another good press man corner. So I wonder if he's looking at the Chiefs and their issues top down and wondering if we're going to see a lot more man coverage, you know, coming out of the bye. I mean, Mahomes is 22nd in completion rate against man coverage. He's 27th in yards per pass attempt. And you look at the Chiefs receivers, and Matt Harmon just wrote an article about this today. And the Chiefs did, and we saw this be a problem last night with the Buffalo Bills against the Houston Texans. Like they built these two rosters out of like all these zone bidding wide receivers on the strength of like, hey, no one's really going to press our quarterbacks and our quarterbacks will win. But then like now teams have like really started to challenge them, or they've been in moments where teams have to challenge them, and you start to see some of the flaws that they don't have these guys that can get open against man coverage and really uncover against man coverage. You know, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, like these guys are all like really sub below base rate in terms of beating man coverage, in terms of like yards per out run. And it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm very. This is like a real football game chess match that I don't have a great feel for like how it's gonna play. I will say one thing here, I think it gives the Chiefs me a little more confidence in the previous 2 weeks is the Colts don't have a good pass rush, and without DeForest Buckner, it's a little worse. Whereas the two teams that Mahomes just faced, obviously Broncos bring a lot of heat, and then the Bills got a lot of heat because the Matt Nagy's game plan was to try to throw the ball 20 yards downfield against umbrella coverage. I think the Chiefs will be in a better spot to combat that this week because the pass rush won't be as good as it's been the past 2 weeks in their matchups.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that in some ways, this could be a bounce back spot for the Chiefs in that we mostly care about Rashee Rice. And I don't think this is a terrible spot for him.
No.
He earns targets. Like he's the guy that you look at first read target rate, he's at 16%, Worthy's at 14. 16% is not particularly high, and it's obviously not much higher than Worthy, but he has a 29% targets per route run to Worthy's 19%. Like he's the guy who actually has the connection with Mahomes, who can get open. You know, Worthy's covered on the first read, Bryce gets the target type of stuff. And I think that this is one of those games where, you know, if the first read is against Sauce Gardner or Ward, then maybe that ends up being a Rice target over the middle of the field or a Kelsey target. I think Kelsey is set up reasonably well here, you know, under the same logic. And then, you know, if you have Mahomes getting a bunch of, you know, throwing a bunch and completing a bunch of passes to Kelsey and Rice, like that's pretty good. That's pretty good for fantasy. So I don't want to compare Patrick Mahomes to Jacoby Brissett, but maybe that's the type of thing we're looking at, where it's like a lot of completions. You know, the efficiency last week, Jacoby Brissett was like kind of middling in EPA per play and stuff, but he had a ton of completions, and they were to the guys that, you know, were in lineups. So I could see from a fantasy point of view, the Chiefs offense bouncing back here pretty nicely. I don't have a ton of faith in Worthy, but Rice, Kelsey, Mahomes, I think will be okay.
I like that interior. I think they're going to attack the interior because if they're going to have Ward and Sauce, and even if they don't really play a lot of press, like those guys aren't probably going to be moving around a lot too. And I think the Chiefs just Rashee Rice, Travis Kelsey stuff over the middle. Colts have been pretty bad against tight ends too. They've only faced 2 good ones and both had good games. But they are 31st in yards allowed to tight ends. They're 28th in receptions allowed per game, 27th in yards per target. Kelsey's shown a little juice the last month too. He's up to like his highest yak. And I was talking to Davis about that too. But like part of that is because like he can't win downfield anymore. So like the yak has to be there. He's not catching
the
like
coverage is not what it was either.
Yeah, but he's also like, you know, you're not getting like any intermixed like Kelsey the seam shots anymore. It's like all short stuff. It's all short stuff now. So that's why I also think the yak is higher because of that. But I do think that that's set up here. I think this matchup is. I could see honestly like both of those two guys like approaching like double digit targets though.
Agreed
in this matchup. So and they're not going to run the ball because they don't care. Like it's so this team's going to have have a real self-evaluation. I think though after this season, they need to get a guy who can win one-on-one at wide receiver, doesn't need anything set up for him. And I think they're going to have to, and they did, I guess, in all theories, try to get Breece Hall, for whatever, but like they're going to have to,
just pay
because
the
they need a
price, man.
they have to have a counter punch.
They really do. I mean, Breece Hall's hopefully not going to get franchise tag. Don't franchise tag Breece Hall, Jets, please.
Well, you got Kenneth Walker. What if they'll get Sean Tucker? There's a lot of dudes. Like they just have to get something.
Ooh, Tucker would be fun. Yeah. I'm hoping it's Breece. I don't even have that much Breece in Dynasty. I just like Breece Hall. So
yeah, Kenneth Walker to me would be fun too, because you're just talking about just that dude that can get explosives in this offense. That's like just the threat of that. It would be, and that's Breece too. Breece's explosives.
Breece's explosives and receiving game. Yeah,
because we know Andy's going to throw, but like if you give him an actual running back that could contribute, like, man, the last dude they even had that was even good in both assets, besides like prime Kareem Hunt, because this version is not the same, was freaking Damian Williams, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, they have, I guess Darrell Williams had his moments, but yeah, Damian was definitely better. Do you have? I mean, people have done the stuff. There was a point at which we talk about Andy Reid running backs being like huge fantasy assets. Like Andy Reid passes, but his running backs score points. You had LaShawn McCoy, Westbrook. Like, yeah, we could. There's a world where we do have production out of the backfield, but they just don't have the guy right now. They're using Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt has a really good success rate. If you look at the Chiefs rushing, they look like a good running team. Like if you look at a lot of the metrics that I referenced, they look pretty good. This looks like, oh, look, the Chiefs, they're 4th in rushing DVOA, 5th in EPA per rush.
They just bring him in on 3rd and 1, and he gets the first down, and it jacks the EPA up.
Jacks the EPA up. Yeah, there's no juice. And the other thing is Mahomes scrambles, so they're getting good numbers with that. But like, they don't have the ability to really attack. With the run.
The Bills game was 2 weeks ago, was like the way McDermott played that game. That was where they should have just bit their lip and handed it off to Kareem Hunt literally 100%. like 20 times. They're like, nah, it's not what we do.
It's not what we do. Yeah. And you know what they actually did? They pivoted to the run in that game compared to, but they still passed 66% of the time. They didn't go hard. And then they go right back to the pass last week, 80% pass rate, 17% above expected. So we know what the Chiefs are going to do. Like, even with the passing game struggling, they're going to pass the ball here. On the Colts side, it's kind of a question of like, do they just lean on Taylor? Do they lean on the passing game? Do they go to more 11 personnel? Do we see more Josh Downs like we saw against the Steelers and against the Rams when they were kind of in the one-dimensional mode? They probably want to avoid that as much as possible. I think other than Taylor, who's he's like 10,000 on DraftKings, so he's almost. I'm not probably doing that, but he's having such a good season. There's worse plays, but Tyler Warren is the guy I think set up the best here, where regardless, unless they just get like waxed here by the Chiefs.
That's the thing. Like this all starts like this is the Colts. The start of this game matters way more for the Colts than it probably does the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are going to do what they do. Like the Chiefs are, yeah. But I agree with you. Go on. Sorry.
Oh yeah, because that's like Warren's whole game this year, and we saw like it against the Steelers. Like when you get them out of the RPO play action stuff, the threat of that, and they just have to be a drop back passing team, like he takes the biggest hit. Because that's what his whole game is about. I mean, he has the most receiving yards off play action this season for tight ends. He's 362. The next closest guy's at 190.
Wow.
He averages 4.7 yards per out run on play action. That's the tight end 2. 1.13 yards per out run on non-play action passes, the tight end 27. So like he's like the start of this game is pivotal for him. Like he's probably like the linchpin of like what type of script the Colts are in.
Yeah. And the thing I like about him here is that he is like, his usage matches what the Colts would like to be doing and what they're probably preparing to do. So it could get away from them.
And the Chiefs top down metrics look good against tight ends, but they face the third fewest targets to tight end, but they're actually 31st in yards per target to tight ends. And they've only faced 2 good tight ends the whole season, Laporta and Kincaid. And both of those guys were, well, Kincaid had 100 yards and a touchdown. Laporta had 55 and a touchdown. So it's like they haven't really been challenged either. So the season long stuff isn't really telling the truth.
Where are you at on the receivers? Because I noted in the walkthrough that Alec Pierce's usage recently has been like really good.
Yeah, real solid. Be prepared for Alec Pierce to get like 18 to 20 million a year, guys. Like it's happening like this offseason.
It's definitely happening. When you talked about the Chiefs bringing in a guy who can get open on his own, they're going to bring in Alec Pierce instead.
I mean, this is a team that, and a bunch of teams. What's funny is both the Bills and the Chiefs could have had Ladd McConkey. Like, put him on either one of those rosters right now.
Well, do you know how often I think about him being on the Patriots?
Yeah, Jalen Polk. Jesus.
Come on.
I actually forgot Jalen Polk was a player.
They traded off that pick. Like they were like, oh, should we take Ladd McConkey? No, let's trade it and take Jalen Polk. And I think they got the pick that they took, what's his name with? The other receiver, that Javon Baker.
Yeah, Javon Baker.
And it was a disaster. They could have McConkey.
Yeah. Well, because both of those guys, you just need guys that get open.
Yeah.
It all just depends on what we get. So I always try to caution whenever we talk about like coverage stuff and defensive tendencies, because if it's a team's not static, like sometimes people are like, well, this guy's good against too high or this guy's not. And it's like, well, yeah, but what if they don't run that this week? And Spags is one of those guys that like it's not completely always static. But so, if they get a lot of too high stuff, that obviously doesn't favor Alec Pierce. It favors Michael Pittman. If they get more single high and Spags is like, dude, I'm coming at Daniel Jones, that favors Alec Pierce. Like those. So it's like, you kind of try to predict what you think they're going to do. I would think that Spags, if I was coaching this game and trying to be in his shoes, like he's trying to bring guys up and shut down Jonathan Taylor.
That's what I think too.
And then that might allow for more single high stuff. And then Alec Pierce maybe can do some of that. But you have to do some guesswork on that. I wouldn't lean into just what like the Chiefs run this to this. They've run this X amount to the state. I think it's going to be probably more. Spags is more of a game plan guy.
But the game plan, obviously, like if you want to beat the Colts, the number one thing is try to slow down Jonathan Taylor, because then everything else sort of starts to break down a little bit. So I think, I mean, he's a really good DC. I would think that's the way he would go. It's obviously hard to do. But and maybe he's got another trick up his sleeve that won't favor Alec Pierce. But I kind of like Alec Pierce here. The other thing is that I'm pretty sure that the game plan won't revolve around taking away Alec Pierce. It might be more of like, we're not going to let you do this RPO stuff with Pittman. We're going to try to slow down Tyler Warren and this play action stuff, right? But it's not going to be about Alec Pierce. So he'll be in one-on-one coverage, I think, at a decent clip.
And they're good too. I mean, they're good on the outside. I mean, that's the Chiefs have been a really good defense kind of all year anyways. It's kind of what has kept them around some of these spots.
Yeah, they have.
Well, especially as a pass defense too. And they're good on these downfield throws too. They're 9th in completions allowed to wide receivers on throws 20 or more yards downfield. 0 touchdowns on those throws so far this season. But that they're due maybe.
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's go. Anything else in this game before we go to the Patriots?
No, I mean, this game I think is super fascinating.
It is.
And then we didn't even talk, like, you've got kind of is it an angry Mahomes narrative? I don't know if we would label it that, but he's never lost 3 games in a row. And so it's, they're on their backs against the wall.
Their backs are genuinely against the wall. They might miss the playoffs.
We haven't been here in a while.
No, we haven't. Yeah, you got Bill Simmons saying, "Oh, we're comparing." Brady. Brady didn't lose 5 games in a season. There's a lot of narratives. Holmes has got to
literally
come back here.
Been in the AFC Championship game 7 years in a row. Like,
it's so
like
silly.
eventually that is going to snap too. I don't know if it's this year or not, but we take some of this stuff for granted. Like,
yeah. All right, Patriots at Bengals. I wanted to make the Patriots the wagon of the week, but
you can still
keep
playing the clip.
Should we play it again?
Yeah, one more time, just for this one.
All right, Patriots are also the
This is our
wagon.
wagon, baby. The wagon of the week.
The team's just rolling right now. This team is just, they're a wagon, dude.
Yeah, they are fucking wagon. We're gonna have a nice little picnic, load that wagon up. Like we're just whatever you need to put in that wagon.
They're a wagon.
Yeah, this is our wagon of the week, baby. What does that mean? What does wagon mean? Just one more time. We won't abuse it. I had to do that. I like this so much. I wanted to see it like that.
So, Patriots at Bengals. We don't know for sure yet what's going on with Burrow, right? We don't have any definitive news.
They have to make him active, I think, by 4:00 Saturday.
Do you think they do that?
I don't know. if he's healthy enough to practice in full, I would think that because my take is on this is Joe Burrow's job is to be the Bengals quarterback. If he's healthy enough to do the job, he's just going to come back, do the job, and that's where the line in the sand's drawn. So I think it just comes down to that. Do they feel he's healthy enough? Does he tell them he's healthy enough? Supposedly today they split more of the reps than the previous 2 days. So
okay.
I don't know if like that's a signal that's gonna be one more week of Flacco, because originally the timeline was always Thanksgiving. So maybe they're like, we don't push, like we just. So I honestly don't really have a great feel for it at this point. I know the Patriots are still the wagon though.
Either way, Patriots are the wagon, but
the Bengals, Joe Burrow ain't going to play that defense.
Yeah, Joe Burrow doesn't get the Bengals defense, which is amazing for us. But I do think Burrow probably plays. And if he does, like, it's a little tough. But Milton Williams is out for this game, which is a big loss for the Patriots. He's on IR. So the pass rush, he's been a big time pass rusher for them at DT, and that helps. You know, the Patriots pass rush is pretty solid, but Williams has been a big part of it. The Bengals offensive line is terrible, 29th in pass block win rate, 27th in quick pressure rate. Flacco's been getting the ball out super quick, which has gotten their pressure rate to 12th best in preventing pressure. But Burrow will probably take a little bit more time. And you know, that part of it's a concern. But for the Patriots, you want Burrow. For T. Higgins, obviously you want Burrow. Let's take care of the Bengals side quickly. I think they're pretty easy. Higgins is going to get a bunch of targets. If it's Burrow, you know, I think he's a wide receiver 1. If it's Flacco, he's probably more like a high-end wide receiver 2 type. But I mean, not a great matchup against the Patriots, but targets go a long way.
100%. I see no matter what quarterback plays, it being a game where the Bengals are very inconsistent on offense, but will probably hit some big plays regardless, because the Patriots do play aggressive defense. You look at if Burrow plays, we've got a couple factors. One is that he's just missed so much time. Like him coming off of just such a long layoff. I always price that in a little bit. I meant to go back and do like I did a study on this for at Roto World when I was there about quarterbacks that miss time and they like the underperformance when they return. And I should revisit that and bring it back just because we've had so many injuries the last couple of years. But we don't have any sample size removing Chase from this offense. And Chase is just so vital to everything they do. And when you remove him from this offense, like T. Higgins is a very good receiver, but he doesn't do all those things that Jamar Chase can do. And when Higgins missed last year, like the big chunk of time, Burrow took like a seismic hit, just removing Higgins from the fold. He went from a 73% completion rate, 8.2 yards per pass attempt, and 7.2% touchdown rate with Higgins on the field on 4 and 40 dropbacks down to a 66.9% completion rate, 6.5 yards per pass attempt, and a 5.6% touchdown rate on 280 dropbacks. Pretty sizable sample, and we're removing the better of the two receivers. But like you said, targets will be there. He's going to have to be fed because these other guys aren't target earners. And as good as Christian Gonzalez has been, and all his metrics look good, the Patriots still give up production to lead wide receivers. So we're 2 weeks away from Rebecca Ibuka, who had 100 yards and touchdown against them. 2 weeks removed from, 3 weeks removed from when Drake London had 120 and 3. They don't strictly use Gonzalez to just follow a dude around. So I think Higgins it'll be volatile, but I actually think he's in play just because of the target volume and the opportunity. And it looks like no one's really interested in playing him this week. So I still think he could have a big spike opportunity.
I do too. I mean, I think the London comp is a really apt one. I mean, he didn't really get much separation, but it didn't matter, you know. And Higgins is that same type of player. So, uh, yeah, I think kind of not one to overthink. If Burrow's in, Higgins is really, really interesting. Yoshi Boss doesn't really earn targets. He has a 10% targets per out run this year. Not real interested in him. Mike Gesicki might play in this game, it looks like, but if he doesn't, Noah Fant is probably going to, see a little bit of a boost. But he was at 41% route participation last week. Tanner Hudson was at 41%. Presumably they'll play some more 12 and get these tight ends involved. Like Fant's obviously just kind of a big receiver, but I don't know for sure that that's how they'll play it. So it's a little bit,
Yeah, a
speculative.
lot of people are doing the what happened when T. Higgins was off the field last year and what it meant for Mike Gesicki just as transitive
Just
property, and
taking
it's
it to
just
Fant, but that you can't do that, I don't think.
yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. I mean, it
Well, and
could
then they're
work that
doing it
way.
too for if Gesicki plays, they're like, well, it's just like, well,
Right.
Fant's here now, the two though.
Yeah. Yeah. It could just be kind of,
Yeah,
yeah. So
I would say yeah, that's all pretty thin.
Chase Brown is going to be fed, though. Tough rushing matchup for him. Williams has not been great, actually, as a run defender, looking at the
They
PFF
actually,
grades.
I pulled the stats. They actually average fewer yards per carry allowed to running backs with him off the field than
Yeah.
on, which I was actually surprised when I pulled it, and I was like, yep.
I know. I figured he's like a defensive tackle, having a great year. And yeah, he's more of a pass rusher. So they're still a great run defense. That doesn't change. But when you're talking about a guy who's had snap shares of 96 and 82% of the last two games, 73 and 82% of carries, and a 30 and a 19% target share, I don't care. What go 3.2 yards per carry? Sure. I'm cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, well,
Just feed him.
he's gonna catch 8 passes this
Yeah,
game.
catch 8 passes. Score a
Yeah,
touchdown. Yeah.
yeah,
So I think Chase Brown's gonna be, it looks like he's gonna be pretty big chalk this week. Maybe not the highest ceiling of like a chalky running back.
yeah.
If you could find ways to get off it, but
He would be more cash game for me on
yeah,
DraftKings only, because I think it's a
DraftKings
game
only for sure.
where he catches. I think he could catch, like I said, 8+ passes. And I wouldn't blink here. So the Patriots are second in target rate to running backs, and running backs have 26% of the catches they've allowed, which is the highest rate in the league.
Mm.
So you remove Chase, like he's the underneath dude, probably, right? Like he's the underneath target largely.
And I think, like I said, they have to get the ball out quickly. Like even with Burrow, they got to get the ball out. So I think they'll probably have some design stuff for Chase as well, just to help whoever is at quarterback get the ball out because of this offensive line, which is just really bad. All right, let's go to the wagon. I'll throw this over to you. Patriots going against this really, really bad Bengals defense.
Yeah. I'll let you do the Drake May stuff because I know you like it, but I'll give you one Drake May stat because I'll try to give you a new one
Yeah.
every set. So he now has averaged over 8 yards per pass attempt in 8 straight games. That's only happened 6 times in NFL history. The last time it happened was Philip Rivers in 2018, Aaron Rodgers 2011, and Dan Marino 1984. I always love when seeing the Dan Marino 1984 stuff pop up because it was such a different era of football, and he was just. But
Yeah. Just
they have the
crushing.
record at 10 straight games. I'm probably sure he's going to extend it because he's going against the defense that's allowing the second highest yards per pass attempt in the NFL. So there's your Drake May stat of the week. It's probably going to keep going. Even last week, if you combine the Rodgers plus Mason Rudolph congeal into one quarterback score, they gave up 18.5 fantasy points to those guys, like which would have been QB7 last week. So this is a defense you can do honestly whatever you want to. Like
You can, and I think the Patriots they're not super pass heavy, but like they went against the Jets last week. The Jets obviously,
and the
Fields.
Jets had like an 8-minute drive to open the game.
Yep. And they pushed back a bit, but they benched Fields after the game, so it wasn't a great showing for the offense. And the Patriots had a 63% pass rate, which is just 1% above average. The league average is at 62%. They were also 1% above their expected pass rate in that game. You don't have to like push back a ton for the Patriots to pass a decent amount. The Patriots have not really been super pass heavy. The only time we've seen them go like really pass heavy was actually in week 1 in the loss to the Raiders. Otherwise, they've been like a little bit above average typically. I think they'll probably be a little bit above average but in a game where they'll have a lot of positive game script and probably be super efficient. So you're going to have enough passing volume, I think, for Drake May and a weapon or two to get there. The stat I have for Drake May is that he was 78th percentile in EPA per play against the Jets. He's now been 75th percentile or better in 7 games, which is tied with Josh Allen for the league lead. Josh Allen was not 75th percentile or better last night, so Drake May could take the league lead all to himself this week. Hasn't had his bye yet, but still fun. Yeah, Bengals defense dead last in weighted DVOA, so the overall defensive grade dead last in passing
And didn't
DVOA.
didn't I see, and I apologize to who had the tweet, but whoever does the DVOA said this is the worst DVOA defense by this point of the season that since they ever, like, 1970. Like,
I haven't seen it. That's Schatz, right? Would have been the
I'm
guy
pretty
to tweet
sure.
it.
I thought
Yeah,
I thought I heard
Aaron
Norris
Schatz.
talking about this, but like it's like the worst defense in terms of DVOA at this point of the season ever.
Here it is. Dead last, second worst in success rate. Don't have a pass rush at all. Dead last in quick pressure rate. Dead last in pass rush win rate. 27th in coverage grade. They allow explosive passes at the second highest rate. They don't shut down first reads. This team's they're bad. They're bad Reebs. So I like Stephon Diggs a lot. I was talking. Neil Orfield was mentioning, the number one receivers haven't gotten there in a big way against the Bengals, but Diggs is playing out of the slot at a decent rate. I don't know in like that sense he's like a classic number one X
Right.
receiver or whatever. I think he'll be perfectly fine here. I like him a lot in this matchup. He's coming off a season high 89% route participation, 30% first read target rate, also a season high, 30% targets per route run, which actually isn't a season high. He had 52% in that Bills win, 39% against the Panthers. But he's been able to earn targets over the course of the year. He earned targets last week against the Jets, despite facing double coverage on 52% of his routes. He still had 3.18 yards per route run. He is now 99th percentile in open score. He has 2.33 yards per route run this year. He has a 25% targets per route run, which is 90th percentile. Diggs is really good right now. Like he looks completely back from the ACL tear. As crazy as it is at his age, like they kind of ramped him back up. But now if we're going to talk about him, like 85, 90% route participation with the target rate that he's seen and the efficiency he's bringing in this matchup, I have him as a low end wide receiver 1. I really like him.
That's just been the thing is he's been awesome all year. Like the underlying metrics for Diggs have been screaming, like, high wide receiver 2, low wide receiver 1. The only thing that's been in his way is the route participation. That was only a second game over 80%. I thought when he got to 80% that first time, like that was just it. Like we were going to be moving downhill. And then the next week he went like 3 weeks in a row where it was just still kind of they were managing him. So I don't know how real it is yet, but that's been the only
73,
thing.
78, 89 over the last 3 weeks. So we haven't seen those 60-ish rates. Like against Carolina, 82, then down to 64 and 71, and then 65 in week 8. It's been since week 8 that we've seen him below 70%.
For some context of how good he's been, like he's right between CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra on like yards per out run. Like he's, like
that's wild.
It's just that like that's how good he's been. He's been back to being like old Stephon Diggs and being awesome. It's just like the route stuff is like that's the only thing that's prevented him from like actually being like an absolute smash. And he's still been, I think, a really good value, and he's been awesome. And obviously, it's a great real life signing as well.
100%. Booty will also be back for this game. I think he's more of like a real life thing than because he's I think 5,000 on DraftKings is not the most, it's a boom bust type of play. He has an 8 out of 17.7. He's kind of lived on catching those deep balls. He's running extremely hot in yards per target.
Yep.
His yards per target's 3.2 yards higher than expected for his ADOT, which is deep. So his expected yards per target is good, but he's got 13.9 right now. That'll regress over a larger sample. He is also averaging 4.2 fantasy points over expected, 99th percentile. So he's running extremely hot there. He's kind of a dart throw type of receiver that's like producing like a wide receiver 4. I think he probably is like a wide receiver 4 in this matchup, but for DFS, it's like you either get that
You know what you're, yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't think I'm even on May stuff, I'm probably not playing Booty, but it's nice
Yeah.
that he's back. Like it is helpful to have him back. They have that deep ball connection, him and May.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most detrimental thing for Booty is just how easily Mac Hollins transitioned into that role. And it was like, yeah, Drake May's just really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Although to some extent Kyle Williams was in
Yeah.
the like pure deep threat role, and he wasn't drawing targets. So I think Hollins is another guy that I probably not playing in DFS because I'm
No.
not sure what his route participation is going to be now. It was 83 and 84% of the last 2 weeks, but he might split with Williams now and be back in like the 50-60% range. So I think it's Diggs at wide receiver and then Hunter Henry at tight end. I think this is a really nice spot for him. He's had a strong profile this year as far as 16% target share, pretty decent route participation. His yards per out run's only 1.39, which isn't great. But this matchup is, really, really strong. And he is one of the guys that May does trust, especially over the middle field. So I think Hunter Henry is a pretty strong play at 3,900 on DraftKings.
Yeah, tight ends have a league high 30% of the targets against the Bengals. On those targets, 8.3 yards per target, league high 12% touchdown rate. They've allowed 12 touchdowns to tight ends. No, next close 5 more than the next closest team. So they just, again, like, what do you want to do to these guys? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean the Patriots, their offensive line isn't very good. It's not horrible though, and so it's like when we think about like the Patriots when they get into the playoffs and they have to face, like last night if they were going against the Texans, like I think Drake May would have also been scrambling around for his life and gotten sacked a bunch of times. Like they probably will get exposed by some of these legit pass rushes eventually. Like they're 20th in pass block win rate. I don't really think this is a good offensive line and may take sacks. But again, you're looking at a Bengals pass defense that has no pass rush, and they're not going to have Trey Hendrickson in this game. So this is like if you can't pressure May, he's just going to pick you apart. And I think what they do, like that is what they do. That is what they're built to do is to feature Drake May when they can protect him, and they can protect him here. So there's no reason for them to kind of pivot to a run heavy game plan. Now they might end up running a lot because they're leading.
Yeah.
But May is the engine of the offense. He has been all year. The run game though is better than it was. TreVeyon Henderson hasn't just been explosive over the last couple games. His success rate's up to 40%, which is not good, but he was horrible before. He's running back 33 now. Ramondre Stevenson is at 33%. That's running back 51. So Henderson's just a better back. And I'm not sure that if Stevenson plays, that Henderson still just doesn't have a lead in carries. I think it'll probably be split. But was talking with Dave Smaddock and Neil Orfield and Squirrel Patrol about this, and it's like, how do you handle the Patriots backs? Neil, who does more like large field, multi entry stuff, was kind of interested in both of them on different lineups, not together. But I kind of like that call where there's probably value here. It's just hard to know which guy gets it.
Yeah, it takes some guesswork, but I think that they want one guy. I mean, they've largely operated since the very front of the season with just having one dude, and then they would bring in a guy. So, and you're talking about playing a guy off turf toe. Like, I mean, I understand the matchup's alluring, but like, I feel a lot more fragility for Ramondre Stevenson than I
Yeah.
do for TreVeyon Henderson. Like this guy was hurt. He's coming into a guy that was drafted in the second round that's playing really good football and can create on his own. Because the one thing that the Patriots are, I still think, really bad at is run blocking, and we've seen like even the 2 games that we've seen with TreVeyon Henderson, while the box score has been great, he is dead last in yards before contact. He's just second in yards after contact by Jonathan Taylor over the past 3 weeks. That's not even just the 2 games; it's the 3 games, and it's because he can force missed tackles, and if you get him in space afterwards, he's just more explosive. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to go on. I don't want to go completely out on the diving board and say like this is like late year stuff that we saw from like Jonathan Taylor or Jahmyr Gibbs, but I think they're going to have a hard time getting him out of being the lead back, for foreseeable future. And when you look at the Patriots' upcoming schedule, they play the Giants next week, and then they go on bye, and then they play the Bills out of that. Like, I mean, they still have and then in the fantasy championship, they play the Jets. Like, I think Travion is set up to, like, it took us a long time to get here, but I feel like if you got him like this, you're about to catch a windfall. Like, he scored more points these last 2 games than Ramondre Stevenson has scored in any game of his career the last 2 weeks, both games.
That's crazy.
I mean, I think they're going to have a hard time putting the genie back in the bottle. Maybe will we see Stevenson coming in the goal line or be involved? Like, I can't rule it out. Like, this is Mike Vrabel, like, and Josh McDaniel. They've done some stuff with combo backs before, so I don't want to say like that's for sure. But man, I think it would be real hard to see like what this guy added to your offense with your quarterback already playing this good, that you would go back to playing a guy that just really wasn't effective.
I'm literally just, as you're describing that, just picturing the 100-foot wave and surfing the 100-foot wave. That's the metaphor of having Ramondre or having Travion Henderson against the Giants and then the Bills and then the Jets. Like, that is just so good to close.
Because I looked it up, I was like, man, is he like going to have? Is this a thing where like it could get pulled on us just from like a matchup stance? Because like the run blocking hasn't been great. But then I'm like, dude, Bengals, Giants, Bills, like then Jets in the champ. I'm like, geez. And if you somehow play in week 18, they play the Dolphins. Like,
you know what? I'm playing DFS in week 18. I just decided.
I mean, you have one game at Baltimore where it looks like,
yeah,
and that might not even be terrible. Like, it's just, I'm just saying the other ones are all juicy.
They really are. Yeah. So I mean, and Stevenson is not a lock to play this week. He's limited, questionable with the toe injury. So we'll see.
We saw with Purdy like that, like he could aggravate it in game. Like, it's a turf toe, man.
Why rush him back either? They asked Vrabel about it, and he was like, he did the like, yeah, Ramondre, we'll have to think about that when he's back. But Henderson's been good, hasn't he? Jeez. I'm paraphrasing in a pro Henderson way, but it wasn't the most bullish thing I've ever heard for Ramondre regaining the starting job. All right, I'm torn on exactly how I'm going to play it for DFS if they both go, but I'm not out on Henderson.
I think I'm playing him regardless, because even if you told me it was a 50-50 split, the type of back he is in a 50-50 split against this defense, they're allowing 34 more total yards per game to running backs than the next closest team. Like, here's a fun Bengals. They've allowed 7 RB1 scores in the past 6 games. They've allowed 8. Yeah.
Who was the double up?
The Jets dudes.
Oh man,
they've allowed 8 top 15 scores over that span. So the past 6 teams allowed 8 top 15 scoring running backs. They've allowed a pair of teammates. They've allowed a pair of teammates this season to have top 20 weeks in 3 different games this season. Here's a list of. These are some names the Bengals allowed RB1 scoring weeks to this season: Dylan Sampson, Isaiah Davis, RJ Harvey, Kyle Monangai, Jordan Mason, Kenneth Gainwell. Like, we're not like, these aren't like first round, second round ADP dudes. Like, these are dudes. And then then you have the Breece Halls, the Josh Jacobs. Like
I'm not. Yeah, these are dudes. Derogatory. Derogatory dudes.
I mean, this defense is deplorable. That chart you showed, so I think even if it's 50-50, I think on this
passing game too. That wasn't even the run game. Get the run game up.
This particular slate too, where we don't have CMC, Jonathan Taylor is really expensive in a matchup that, hey, if you want to play Jonathan Taylor, I won't talk you out of playing him. We don't have Achane. He's not on the slate. It's just like, I look at the top running backs. We talked about Gibbs. I definitely want to play Gibbs. Henderson at his price point, I feel like on this slate still offers like a ton of juice. Like, I feel like I'm going to play him regardless.
Here's the chart. Now the Patriots haven't been good as a running team.
I know.
But 31st, and 30th in DVOA, EPA, and success rate. They're also dead last in PFF run grades. So not good. I agree. I think Henderson's pretty fun here, actually. And especially in like season long stuff, I'm riding with him. All right. Steelers at Bears. Looks like we're going to have Mason Rudolph here. Do you care?
Not particularly.
Me neither. I kind of like I did the like, to be clear, I think I prefer Rodgers, but like in my heart, I don't. I think Rudolph's more fun, because he might actually throw deep.
Yeah,
And if he does, there's like a little juice maybe here. For DK Metcalf, Rudolph might be better. So I mean, the Bears defense is not good, but Rodgers has been so conservative and just does not want to get hit.
they are getting 2
Um,
cornerbacks back.
are they? Who are they getting back?
They're getting Jalen Johnson and Kyle Gordon back, right?
Oh, I didn't realize that. They were both on IR. I didn't realize they're coming back.
Yeah, I think Jalen Johnson is more questionable. They activated his window, and I saw he was practicing, but I don't know. I didn't see confirmation that he was playing, but they were getting excited to have both back.
Okay, Kyler Gordon got in a full practice today, so yeah, he does look
Okay.
like he's getting back. That's a good shout. And then Jalen Johnson, I don't see on the practice report. Yeah, oh, here he is. Oh, he also had full. So
So they
maybe
might be
give them
getting
both
both
back.
back because like
That's a big
this
deal.
is
That's a big deal.
because you had been wanting to attack them downfield. This is where like the
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph stuff comes in. So, but it's just a wild card now. It's not that you can't win and you might not get it. It's just an added variable. We're at the point of the season where like Travarius Ward we talked about, like we forgot like these guys that were on IR. We kind of just like put them out of sight, out of mind, and like these guys are all starting to come back. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot that like that happened.
Yeah, I didn't realize those guys are coming back this week, or at least that they might. Tyreek Stevenson's their other main corner. He's been banged up a bit, and he stinks. So he's, or at least he gives up a lot of yards. I think he had an interception last week, but limited full. So he'll go, but I think offers some potential downfield production, even if the other corners are back. The Bears pass rush is not good. They're second worst in quick pressure rate, 29th in pressure rate. So if Rodgers plays, he shouldn't have to worry too much about getting hit. But I think either way,
Well,
Steelers
he
probably,
would just throw the damn ball out anyways.
yeah. This is probably a spot where they pivot to the run, I would think. Even though you can attack the Bears deep and they don't get a great pass rush, they've been a bit of a run funnel. Opponents averaging a 59% pass rate, a 4% pass rate below expected, and a 3% shift to the run. And obviously, we have an Arthur Smith offense. We might have a backup quarterback. If not, we've got a banged up 41-year-old quarterback who's about to turn 42. So I think we probably have the Steelers leaning on the run. Jalen Warren was banged up last week, but that would be my expectation for what they're looking to do here. That means probably more Darnell Washington at tight end. He was up to 61% route participation last week.
That was the
Part of
script
their
for him. We
downhill
said it,
stuff.
man. We said
Yeah.
that was his script. If they're gonna be in a run script. Dude, did you see he said he's 311 pounds. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, imagine trying to tackle that dude.
Scott Hansen said, because he had that stiff arm play, it just looked just absolutely insane. And
It was like a dad playing with his kids in the front
it
yard.
was a
Like,
dad playing with the kid. Like, it's like, hey man, it was honestly like a giant older brother. Cause it was with the level of like, there's a callousness to it where you're like, you can't do that. Hey man, you can't do that. That's what it felt like. Like, that's like, what's wrong with you? He's playing professional football. Yeah, it was nuts. Hansen goes, I mean, that's a 300-pounder right there. And then you could tell like maybe someone got in his ear and he's like, well, technically he's like 265 pounds, but and then he admitted
he
it,
went
right?
on the St. Brown's podcast during the week and he told him he was 265 and they said, no, you're not. And then they got him and he said he was 311. I was like, holy man, what? Dude, it's like
That's so
throwing
good.
to an offensive tackle. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
why
he
isn't he
might be able to
more?
convert if he wanted.
Run the ball with him. Just do something. Throw him. I would give him a screen. Do anything with this dude. How
I
has
know,
anyone
it's
ever
wild.
tackled him?
He looks awesome when he has the ball. 3.35 yards per hour on last week.
He was always a big like efficiency dude at Georgia. It was just like, he played,
He kind of popped for me as a prospect, but it was like, is he actually going to play tight end or
Yeah.
is he like a big
He's
tackle?
because he is really athletic for size too. Like,
Really athletic, yeah.
yeah, obviously, or he wouldn't
I
be a
mean, we
tight end.
saw
He
it.
would be a
Yeah, he's athletic for the size he pretended he was.
yes.
Think about how athletic he is for the size he actually is.
Wild Pittsburgh stat though is that 69% of their offensive yards this season is passing. It's fourth highest rate in the league. Would you have thought that?
No, They have passed a lot more than they normally do, but that's
they've
still
only
higher than I
rushed.
would've thought.
They've only rushed for 100 yards as a team 3 times this year.
One of them was with Kenny
Or
Gainwell,
4. I'm
and
sorry, it's 4.
they
One was
might have to
100
lean
on
on him.
one. Yeah. It's crazy. They're like not a really good running team either. Oh, because 2 of the games are against the Bengals. So it's like, do those count? I don't know. The other one was like you said, Vikings, and then they hit 100 on the dot against the Browns.
Yeah.
But it's like they're not even like a good running team either.
So do you think they actually pass here with
I don't
Burrow?
know. They've been having to pass, but like you said, it's all short stuff though. It is the run game. Isn't their pass game the run game? I don't know. Like
Yeah, their pass game is kind of the run game. I mean, you have a blocker catching the ball, so well, when you're passing offensive
Rodgers
tackle,
throws everything. Everything's just so short,
so short, man.
31% of his passes are at or behind the line of scrimmage.
Ugh.
Only 45% are 5 or more yards downfield. That's the lowest rate in the league by far.
It's a 5.9 ADOT. It's outrageous.
Like he has no interest in getting tackled, man.
None. It's all the quick release, little hop, 3 yards downfield. Yeah, it's not very fun. The Bears are 28th in rushing DVOA, 17th in EPA, 20th in success rate. I think if you want the Steelers to pass here a bunch, you probably need the Bears to push them, and or at least be competitive. I'm worried about the Bears here. Like,
of course,
we've seen Caleb, has been doing the heroics, but like the heroics are not against teams you should need heroics against, right? They had heroics against the Bengals. That's not
the Giants.
Good. The Giants, who lost Dart. Dart was concussed in that game. You had Russell Wilson. You don't have heroics against Russell Wilson in 2025. The Vikings. Okay, JJ McCarthy. You have to pull one out against JJ McCarthy. Or I guess they didn't. The Vikings were trying to make the comeback there, but it was close. It was closer than it should have been. And Caleb Williams had a 32nd percentile EPA per play last week against the Vikings. So I think that Williams could really struggle here against a really good Steelers pass rush. Pretty deep pass rushing group. Nick Herbig's having a great season. Still have TJ Watt there. Like this, they're going to get to him, I think. And he holds the ball just way, way, way too long. 3.39 second time. Like if he had a 3.19, I'd be like, wow, it's pretty long. 3.39 seconds. It's nuts. So I don't know. I think this is a potential big letdown spot for the Bears.
Yeah, this game feels like a rock fight for sure. 2 teams that probably want to run the ball in their hearts here in this game. Probably don't get like efficient passing. Williams and the Steelers defense like kind of correlate too because when Williams has gotten pressured, he's 32nd in completion rate, he's 30th in yards per pass, he's 22nd in touchdown rate, and that's like the Steelers thing. When they have gotten pressure on the quarterback, they're 10th in completion rate allowed, they're 14th in yards per pass attempt. They've actually allowed the lowest touchdown rate when getting pressure. And I got to give the Steelers a little bit of credit because we always dunk on them for like never adjusting to opponents and doing in-game calibrations. Well, since we've all kind of dunked on them after those games, the Packers and Bengals, they've rolled out 3 completely different game plans all 3 weeks. And they've held Daniel Jones to 6.8 yards per pass attempt, Justin Herbert to 6.7 yards per pass attempt, Flacco last week to 5 yards per pass attempt. All those passers were in the back half of weekly scoring, which kind of goes along
It
with
took away Jamar Chase last week.
Yeah, dude. I mean, in the rematch last week, the Steelers played a season high rate of 73% of their snaps. After playing 39% man coverage rate against the Bengals in the first matchup, they're at 15.9%. It was a season low. They blitzed the season low 12% of the time last week. Their previous lowest blitz rate was 23.6%, like cut in half. Against the Chargers, they played a season high rate of man coverage in that game. They blitzed it at the highest rate because of probably the state of the Chargers offensive line. Now, I don't think the defense is the reason they actually lost that game. They were okay on defensively against the Chargers. They did absolutely nothing.
No, they did. The offense cratered, yeah.
And then the week before that against the Colts, they mixed up and played more cover 3 and cover 6 in there. It's like the Steelers are like rolling out different game plans. And like, we have not seen this from this regime. And so like, I don't trust them to even be like, to look at anything season long and be like, well, Steelers play man coverage and they blitz. And I'm like, do they? Like, I don't know. They've kept us on our toes here 3 weeks in a row.
I think because you look at the man stuff and that helps Odunze. He's been good against
That's what matters.
But maybe they don't play so much man. I think the one guy who I'm like genuinely excited about from DFS perspective, because he is very cheap, is Luther Burden. We got the Luther
A
Burden
little bit more
install last week. We got route participation jumped to 61%, which isn't as high as we would like, but is, kind of that part-time slot receiver zone. And Olamide Zaccheaus dropped to 19%. And Burden has been really involved when on the field. He has 2.39 yards per route run. He's at 22% targets per route run. So he's been a bit of a playmaker. He gets involved on screens to some extent, but only 9% of his yards have been on screens, that's 84th percentile, but it's below DJ Moore. It's equivalent with Olamide Zaccheaus. So I wouldn't say he's like a gadget player. He gets some design stuff, but he has also been able to earn targets. So when you look at Burden, he's got an 8 out of 7.8. When you look at Odunze, he's got an 8 out of 15.2. He's the clear downfield number one. If you've got a pass rush bearing down and you need to get the ball out a little more quickly, DJ Moore's theoretically been the guy, but I think it could be Burden. Like, it's certainly possible that he is more involved in the underneath passing game this week. Ben Johnson was pretty complimentary of him, talking about how they, liked getting him the ball more and that he had earned that role. He said, I think you get what you earn. And I think he's earned the increased snaps. It's something we evaluate each week. What does practice look like? How are these guys through the course of the week? Are they making plays or not? He's steadily climbed the route running detail that's showing up, the consistency and making sure his alignments are right, his assignments. He's doing a real good job with that. I think he's progressing nicely. Coach Speak Index had that a couple days ago. So that's what we got after he got more playing time. Second round rookie. This looks like a breakout, I think. He hasn't had the production with the playing time yet, but we could get that this week. So I am not excited about the Bears offense this week generally. I do think Luther Burden is pretty exciting.
He's definitely a guy. I think if you haven't season long too, we haven't talked about this, but I had it in the open of the worksheet, like the lead in. I'm not quite at like Gretchen levels or Matthew Berry, where I'm like doing these dot tribes. I kind of do like a State of the Union at top. But this week we have 14 of the top 36 wide receivers in ADP off the board this week.
Wow.
So like, there's teams that need wide receivers. Like, I would put Burden in that group. We're gonna probably talk about a couple more gross guys too. But like,
I have him in a lineup. I put him in a lineup earlier.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was because getting Zaccheaus out of there too. Zaccheaus played a pretty bad game 2 weeks ago against the Giants. It's like, come on, it's time. And then DJ Moore's doing absolutely nothing out here.
Nothing.
I mean, he's cleared 46 yards in 2 of his past 9 games. He hasn't had more than 4 catches in a game since week 2. So like, what are you counting on from him? Like, it's time to start playing this guy and getting him more ramped up. So hopefully they figured that out. And
there's 2 ways to pass a receiver, right? Like, if you're a rookie kind of breaking out. The first way is what he did to Olamide Zaccheaus, where you just take the routes he was getting. But he can pass DJ Moore without DJ Moore losing a single route, because DJ Moore can't earn targets right now. So the number 2 target earner on the Bears is completely wide open. I think that could easily be Burden this week, easily. And Colson Loveland could be that, but they're not playing him enough. He's stuck in a split with Cole Kmet. They're both at like 55-60% route participation right now. So I think Burden's got an opportunity here, 3,600. I want to play some of these expensive running backs. He can help me do that. I'm pretty into that. And if I'm playing Luther Burden, Caleb, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that you can step up in a tough matchup with a good pass rush. I'd love to see it. Maybe I finally will apologize to him if he wins me a tournament.
Well, like you said with Caleb, we've talked about it literally, I feel like, for the whole season. It's like his spots for fantasy football where he's been good have been like pretty clear, like coming in.
Yeah,
like,
super clear.
So, and
the clearest.
Yep. So
it's the Cowboys and the Bengals. It's like, those are the 2 spots.
So it's just it. Like, yeah.
DeAndre Swift, I think, season long stuff probably more, but he's kind of RB2 type of dude. He's regained.
Yeah, we've started to see a little. We've started to see a little bit of a Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet type of thing going on here too, where DeAndre Swift is like the more efficient back, and he's doing the stuff that you like, and then Manon guy's scoring touchdowns. You're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and he only had a 4% target share last week, which is not ideal, but you do, at least with Swift, you have a little bit more of the the receiving work than you can count on with Walker, I would say. But
yeah.
yeah,
They throw a little more to their running backs, but it's just like, yeah, it's like, but now we're in this zone with the Anderson. It's like, oh, this dude's going to give us 90 to 110 total yards of scrimmage every week and not score a touchdown. Cool.
cool. Yeah. All right, Vikings at Packers. JJ McCarthy, man, I did it to him. I pulled up the I did this to Cam Ward earlier, so it felt only fair. But I pulled
Jonathan
up
James.
the since Jonathan James. I pulled up the since 1999 EPA chart. Here he is. Here's Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen. Oh, you can't see my mouse. Josh Rosen just to the left of JJ McCarthy. He's had a better success rate, but I think slightly worse EPA per game than Josh Rosen. This is bad, man. Now we're only looking at 177 dropbacks for him. Ward is up to the right here just a little bit. So we'll talk about him later, but it's been bad in a bigger sample. But this is like really historically bad stuff so far from McCarthy. Jonathan James is now going against the Packers, and we're looking at a Vikings team that I think understands what's happening. I think they're kind of over it. We saw them in the first game, functionally rookie quarterback, right? Going against the Bears, minus 4% pass rate expected, minus 16% on first down. They kind of open things up the next week. Doesn't go good. They go to Wentz. Jonathan James comes back. They're pretty balanced. And then you see they're like, I think the last couple of weeks they're like, we're not doing this anymore. we're a run team now. Minus 14% PROE, minus 27% on first and 10. This is what teams do when they're hiding a quarterback. And this team's clearly hiding JJ McCarthy. So Aaron Jones is probably my favorite play here on the Vikings side. Mm-hmm. You mentioned him, the usage being stronger than it looked because he was hurt a couple weeks ago, and that was exactly right. 73% of carries last week does seem to be the dude there. So I have some optimism for him, but I don't have a lot of optimism for the Vikings this week.
No, it's going to probably be one of these games. We just talked about the Packers. Like, they're going to let them probably run it. They're going to try to run it on the other side, and it's probably going to be an underwhelming overall kind of game environment for fantasy football points. Aaron Jones would kind of be the preferred way to play just through the Viking side, just because it's at least trustworthy in terms of volume. Like, and you just say like, all right, that's cool. Like, cause the Vikings, like, we have no idea. Like, we can't project any type of ceiling for them anymore. Like, we just can't until there's like some proof of it. 31st in yards per pass attempt. He has the highest interception rate in the league, Jonathan James, highest rate of inaccurate throws. For fantasy purposes,
even his accurate throws are inaccurate because he fires them into
everything.
the guy's hands.
Dude, Brady did their game last week, and dude, he was like several times just talked about the velocity on his throws. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't hear that. No,
listen. Yeah, like dude, like put some touch on these. Like Brady's like, dude, if you layer this, like it's there. Like he openly talked about the velocity on McCarthy's throws multiple times during the game.
It's hard not to. It's like he's just fired. Now the last drive that he had, he did have some touch on a couple of throws.
Yeah,
noticeable because like there's no touch ever.
But we can't look at the last drive of a guy's game. And I saw some people doing this and we're like, he stepped in when it mattered. It's like, well, the dude played terrible for 59 minutes. Like, if he played better, they wouldn't be in the spot.
Like, and the thing too is, it is a small sample. It's hard to know for sure. Is he this bad or like? But look, I mean, it matters who they were going against. They were going against the Bears, and they didn't have their cornerbacks back last week. And he was 7th percentile in EPA per play in that game, 22nd percentile in success rate. Like these quarterbacks, and it's not like it's the only game he's had a chance to flash. Like he just hasn't flashed anything. He's peaked in the 33rd percentile in that first game against the Bears in EPA per play. Like when you have these soft matchups and the guys just can't do anything, and then you're watching the game, it's like, dude, the plays are there to be made, but he can't make the throws. Like it's just really, really tough. It's a type of thing where like maybe he salvages it, but I would think he would need like an off season. Like this is a guy who needs to like fix his like, I don't know if it's mechanics or what, but like fix his approach to playing quarterback. Like
I mean, this was the first quarterback selected in the first round with fewer final season pass attempts. Like the only guys lower than him were Jason Campbell, Cam Newton, Trey Lance, and Michael Vick. And like 3 of those dudes just ran around. Like this dude has like he has like almost no college sample size. I just don't know what like we're holding on to right now. It's just real rough, man. I mean, you go back and look at like how was this guy picked where he was? I don't understand. Like
The one thing that he did pretty well in college that I wrote about when he's coming out was he was pretty good thrower to the deep middle of the field, the splash zone area, which is a huge part of what Kevin O'Connell does. And like I will say, when he is on target and to like, a 15-yard throw down the deep, down the middle of the field in stride to Justin Jefferson, those plays look sweet. Like they look really good. It's just like there's no margin for error because every ball's a million miles an hour. And so if it's not perfect, it's bad. Like, and that's the part like I didn't catch in the eval, I'm like, and I wasn't particularly bullish on McCarthy coming out, but I was like, if he ends up with like Kevin O'Connell, I could definitely see it working. But here he is with Kevin O'Connell, and it is not working at all. And Kevin O'Connell knows it, and they're pivoting to the run. This is like as low as Underdog tweeted out that they have Justin Jefferson as low as they've ever offered his receiving prop. I have him. I kept him as a wide receiver, low end wide receiver 1, almost out of principle. I think if you had him as
there's so many guys off the board this week.
Yeah,
like
totally. But yeah, I mean, if you had him as a wide receiver 2 this week, I don't think it'd be crazy.
No, yeah. I mean, he was a guy I wrestle with of like trying to, where do I even move him down to? There's other guys that I probably would feel like more confident. It's like, can I really put him below this name? Like, yeah, it's like let the sample breathe. Like, but I mean, target share hasn't been the issue. Like the dude's getting, it's the quality of targets. I mean, he has 28% or more of the team targets in every McCarthy start. But I brought this up last week. 23.3% of his targets are inaccurate. It was 12% rate from Carson Wentz. Like he's doubled it. Wide receiver
from
18.
Wentz.
From Carson Wentz. Yeah. And then Green Bay's been a significantly better pass defense at home too. So like they've been one of these teams that haven't traveled well, but they've been significantly better at home. So it's like you don't even feel good. It's outdoors. You're playing Justin Jefferson if you have him. Addison is more, I think, touchdown or bust at this point.
Totally.
Like, what are you hoping for? Hawkinson's been dead the whole year. So it's really just Aaron Jones as the guy you have confidence in because of running back volume, and then Justin Jefferson on just principle of they're going to try to get him the ball, but our expectations have significantly waned.
Yeah, I think if you look at the way, we talked about this earlier with like the way you play the Packers, the approach that the Vikings have shown recently is kind of what you do against the Packers recently, right? And
especially with that defense, like their defense, you try to get turnovers.
Yeah. So
you run the ball, Jonathan James, do not lose us this game. Like last week, just try to be close enough to where we can have a high variance play on defense.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, what are your thoughts on Aaron Jones, like from a DFS perspective and stuff? They're on the road. I don't have faith in the passing offense at all, but like, I do think he'll get fed.
I don't have a huge problem with him. I don't see like a super high ceiling for him, but I think he's fine-ish. There's some guys in that range. What do we got? Kenneth Walker at 54. Montgomery's at 53. We had brought him up earlier too. We haven't gotten to Tootin at 46.
We will.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some guys in that range. Like I said, I already so last week I got cute. And I thought it's like, all right, well, what if this hasn't worked all year, but what if I try to play all the good wide receivers and put them in a lineup? And the NFL has said, what if we continue to be terrible at passing and your wide receivers don't score points? So like, I want to get back on the train because the whole year I've been playing good running backs. So like, I want to play, I think I want to play Gibbs and Henderson, or like Gibbs through something and like Walker. So
Gibbs is a great play. Yeah.
I don't know if he gets, I think Jones probably gets squeezed for me, but if you were to tell me like he was in that price range, like one of the better guys, I wouldn't blink. I'd be like, yeah, that checks out.
It's definitely like the ceiling is a little bit tough because you just don't. But he volume wise, he seems
He's been
pretty solid.
catching, getting targets too, both games. I
Yeah,
think 6 targets each the past 2 games.
yeah. Meanwhile, the Vikings are a pretty big run funnel. Teams have a 54% pass rate against them, which is very low. -5% PROE, 3% shift to the run. Where the Bears had a 50% pass rate against them. The Ravens were at 53%. Chargers went super run heavy, 48% against them. Eagles went run heavy. Like number of teams going really run heavy. Lions passed 68% of the time, but they were trailing in that game. So yeah, I think the Packers are set up to run the ball here, and that's what they do. I mean, the Packers have been super conservative this year. Josh Jacobs may play in this game. I think even if he doesn't, we're going to see the Packers. It'll be Emmanuel Wilson, and he becomes a pretty strong DFS play, I would say, and is going to be real chalky. 5,300. He'll be pretty popular and a pretty good play.
Mhm.
Like I don't think the Packers are going to change things up if Jacobs is out. I think Jacobs being in helps them because he's been a lot better than Wilson this year, but and that's mostly because Wilson hasn't been good rather than Jacobs being awesome. But
They're another team that they've had so many injuries on the offensive line that they've struggled to run the ball. You wouldn't know this because they keep running the ball,
keep
but
running the ball. Yeah.
but they've been really bad at running the ball.
They have. They really have. I mean, it's also like they're not like the worst running team, but they're really efficient passing the ball. So it's just strange that they're not, they're so committed to running the ball and they
They are.
keep shooting themselves in the foot by letting these inferior teams hang around. But at the same time, like I totally expect them to keep doing it.
Yep.
So I don't know. Do you have much interest in like Jordan Love in the passing game, or is this kind of like play the starting running back for the Packers?
Yeah, I think this is another game that I think probably like we talked about Steelers Bears, like the median outcome of this game is probably lower scoring, right? Like outdoors,
Yeah, for
teams
sure.
that, not a ton of explosives probably in this game. The Vikings will eventually like sometimes get caught in the cookie jar sometimes. But we've seen Love be completely like very boomer bust against Brian Flores, and that's kind of how I'm just handling him here. He in 4 games against Brian Flores, 6.6 yards per pass attempt. But he has 2 front end QB3 scoring weeks. One was like in a blowout comeback that they just like they just had to throw a bunch. So it's just really hard because they haven't really unleashed the passing game. And to be honest, like their receivers, like they've had so many guys like coming in and out of the lineup, and Tucker Kraft being out, I think is still it's just a big thing that like we talked about for 1 week, but then no one's bringing back up as his loss is just so significant for this offense that it's hard to like just feel great about anything here. It's more just like a lot of okay plays, like Romeo Dobbs, I think okay, Christian Watson, okay.
Yeah. And I think if you are looking at the running back, like Emmanuel Wilson's profile has been really, really bad this year, but we've seen a number of times like the Kyle Manung guy and Rico
Yeah,
Dowdle in his
just
first
home
game, like
favorite.
home favorite. They're gonna like it will be Wilson and
Yeah, Chris Brooks had
these
1
are small
carry.
sample numbers as well. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be Wilson. Wilson last week had 71% of snaps, 48% of carries, but Josh Jacobs was at 30%. So yeah, I think
yeah.
Wilson is a very solid play, especially in a slate where we don't have a ton of these mid-priced running backs. So, if Jacobs goes, he's trickier because I don't
Yeah.
think he'll get the full workload probably. So,
And his injury the way he described it sounded like, well, couldn't this just happen again on Sunday? Like, because he said he took
it
the
could swell
hit
back up. Yeah,
and it swelled back. It's like, well, wouldn't that just happen? Are we at risk of like you just getting hit again? Uh,
yeah,
yeah, we listen. First of all, we got to just ban MetLife. Like MetLife's got it.
dude,
Like, how
what's
we not
up?
tore that place down? I
They were
heard they're
showing
doing a soccer tournament there and they're replacing the turf, like putting natural grass. And it's like, well, why didn't they do that? Like, do that all the time.
someone was sharing the like the Spain field and how they have like the retractable, it goes into like a subterranean greenhouse or whatever the heck, and they, there's like a gardener who's like lives down there full time, and like it tends to eat blade. We can't have freaking turf that doesn't hurt every player who plays on it.
I mean, it's like concrete. It's just like a thing over concrete.
It's so stupid.
But the way he's and they play on Thanksgiving too. Keep that in mind. They play the quick turnaround.
Right. Oh, that's a good point. So maybe he misses this game. I mean, his status is a pretty important part of the DFS slate because Wilson.
Yeah, because if he's just outright ruled out, then you know that you at least have a volume-based play.
Exactly.
Emmanuel Wilson.
Yeah. And like unlike Jones, who's a volume-based play, it's like I do think the Packers will be leading in this game. I do think they can put up points. They have a pretty solid team total. I'm frustrated with the offense, but mostly because they're not using a very efficient passing game as much, and they run the ball too much. So if I'm playing the running back, okay, that works out for me. So
yeah,
the one thing I'll note here with the passing game, which I don't have a ton of faith in, just because they're not leaning into it, and they are set up to run the ball against the run funnel Vikings defense, but targets are condensed at least.
Yeah, because Matthew Golden ain't getting them.
Matthew Golden ain't getting them.
And you took Kraft out, and we did the Laporta thing kind of in a way.
Exactly. No, we did. I mean, even more so to an extent. But Dontavian Wicks last week, 57% route participation. Matthew Golden was at 37%. So this is kind of Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs right now.
Yep.
Doubs is way safer. His targets per out run is 22% to Watson's 15. But Watson's been very efficient. He's been ramping up his usage over the course of the last 3 weeks. Has gotten stronger in terms of route participation. He's coming off a season high 21% targets per out run. So it's more season long, but like I think I'm trusting these guys in lineups, and I'm starting to really feel like Christian Watson's pretty solid with targets condensing. But yeah, I mean, they don't have a starting tight end right now. John Fitzpatrick led in route participation last week, 47%. Musgrave was at 33. Josh Wiley was at 30. There's no starting tight end on the Packers, and Fitzpatrick didn't earn any targets. He had 0.36 yards per out run.
Yeah, I have these guys, wide receiver 21 and wide receiver 24 this week. Like it's, kind of the world we're in. Like you said, it's condensed. There is some stronger signal in the matchup for Dobbs, but Watson's just more fun.
Watson's more fun. I have Dobbs ahead. I wish I did.
Me too. Because even though that Watson had the 2 touchdowns, Dobbs still had more targets, more yards.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like, and he's the guy too. Like, and maybe it'll switch because Watson can make those contested catches, but he's been like prototypically like their end zone guy for a number of seasons, especially with Kraft being out. So, but yeah, I think they're both solid plays. I think if you told me you liked one of these guys, I wouldn't be. If you were like, I like one of these guys, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that. Like if you're like, I'm gonna play Christian Watson all these lineups, I'd be like, all right. Yeah. I mean, it's like that's where we are. They're like fair priced. They're fair priced. You need a guy.
I was just admiring the acting chops there. I felt like that really happened.
I totally understand. I mean, Matthew Golden. I mean, we're like, I think we're in the cope zone. A lot of people are in the cope zone.
Oh, the cope zone. Yeah, it's pretty strong.
I saw someone. It might have been Ron Stewart that had the graph. Did you see this?
I saw someone. It wasn't Ron, but someone had a list of receivers who hadn't scored a touchdown through.
That's the one. I thought it was Ron. I'm sorry. So I apologize.
I don't think it was.
Right.
But I mean, now we're gonna have to really apologize if it was Ron.
It wasn't. I don't think. I'm scrolling his timeline and it's gone. So it's not. It wasn't him. But I saw the same thing you did, and the entirety of the list was like, "Oh yeah, we're in the cope zone."
It was all busts. Yeah,
it was like
and
Kevin
then like
White,
Rashad Bateman, who's like kind of busty, but not. I mean, fantasy. It was fantasy bust, not necessarily guys who fell out of the league. Jahan Dotson was on there. Nelson Aguilar was on there. Bunch of first round receivers you did not want for fantasy. I can't seem to find this tweet. No,
but it was bad. It
was bad.
It was just like, yeah, maybe we're doing a little.
Oh, here it is. It's
it's Kyle Borgioni. Messed up his name, but,
I will let you
Listen, as someone who has an
flexible
equally
there.
jacked up last name, I point no.
Yeah, I've gotten some Curran is pretty common. Karani.
I didn't get to choose it, man.
Yeah, we don't choose these. Kevin White, Nelson Aguilar, Devontae Parker, Josh Doxson, Laquan Treadwell, Corey Davis, Mike Williams, John Ross, N'Keal Harry, Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney, Traylon Burks, and Matthew Golden. My apologies to Jahan Dotson, who actually wasn't on this list, but I think I saw Josh Doxson and made him Jahan Dotson. But either way, not a great list of guys to be on. These are receivers who have since 2010 without a touchdown reception to the first 11
I will
weeks.
say the one thing he has
Kyle.
going compared to this list, looking at it now, is that all these guys were kind of just like lumberers, like outside of John Ross. Like maybe he has that going. Like the only fast dudes were Tony, and like all the other guys are legitimately kind of the same archetype.
Bateman is
Bateman.
similar to
I still think there's a
Ross.
place there's a place in the multiverse. Bateman actually was good.
I know. He still looks good in like open score stuff too. Like
he was so good in college, man. He was so good.
We should have known
like
once
a
Tyler
receiver.
Johnson was nothing that maybe it was the level of competition. Yeah.
But if he doesn't go to the Ravens early on and is in like a pass, we'll just never know. We'll never know.
I loved Bateman, but I don't think he's that good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but I either way, we're not expecting a windfall of targets to start finding him right here.
We are not. Which should help Dobbs and Watson. So, Rich won't judge you if you play those guys. Let's go to Seahawks at Titans. Anything to say about the Titans?
Lowest team total of the season.
Their team total of 13.5 matches the line. They are 13.5 underdogs, and they're expected to score 13.5 points. Vegas thinks they're getting doubled up this week. Not great.
Yep. And the Seahawks have mopped all of these bad teams they played. Like they have not entertained any of these teams that they should beat. Like they beat the Cardinals just 2 weeks ago by 22. The week before that, they beat the Commanders by 24. They beat the Saints by 29. Like they have not entertained these bottom dwellers like on any level.
I think the Seahawks are definitely not as good as, there's a lot of
big picture,
the best
the
team
quarterback.
in the league,
it's always going to come down to the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think the Seahawks are like a legit Super Bowl contender, but they're a very good team. It's just, maybe they are, but I don't think they're really.
Well, the defense is legitimately really good.
The defense is really good. So on that level, they're very.
We won't talk about the Rams because they're Sunday night, but I think what last week showed was a bigger positive for the Rams and probably more of a detriment big picture than the Seahawks, because the Rams kind of revealed that if you take away the thing that Seattle's built upon, it's not good beyond that. Where the Seahawks took that away, and then the Rams were like, well, we'll just go back to playing 11 personnel. Like, come stop this now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Seahawks seem like a team that's found a winning formula that if you can kind of break that formula, things get sketchy.
Yes.
The Rams, they've got, arguably the best offensive mind in the league at the helm.
We get to start playing Puka Nacua more? What a concept.
No, it's wild. Yeah, so they've got change up. They've got a bunch of different pitches they can throw at you.
Yeah, but anyway, the Seahawks had nothing after. The Rams took that away early on and got them out of that. That's what we talk about the Colts too. When the Steelers took the Colts out of theirs,
they're very similar. There's this one weird trick. That's the team.
Well, because when you have to do a little bit of the guidance for your quarterback, it's not complete handling. Like Darnold and Daniel Jones have played good football too, but
it's not hand holding because it's like. Yes. They are then, but it's like, here's this thing. It's kind of like a play yard. You're putting the quarterback in the play yard and they can do whatever they want in there. They look great. They're having fun. But when they get loose,
that pack and play. Daniel Jones is a pack and play quarterback. Maybe that's.
And so is Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, pack and play quarterback.
Pack and play quarterback. Yeah.
Can't hurt yourself in here.
Exactly.
You get out of here. The world is scary outside of this.
So So that's what but you know what? This is a pack and play matchup, man. This is
Yes.
a
Oh
total
yeah.
pack and play matchup. Like I think the Seahawks are going to level the Titans. I think they're going to cook. I think they're going to look good on offense. I think they're going to put up a
Yeah.
bunch of points. And the passing game is going to look really good here because they play action at such a high rate. The Titans are bad against play action, and teams are play actioning against them at a really high rate, highest rate in the league, actually. Seahawks are fifth highest in the use of play action. That's where we're seeing a lot of the downfield shots, a lot of the efficiency for Darnold is coming on these play action shots. They're not making him, dink and dunk. They're using him as a big play quarterback and using the run game and the threat of the run game to help open up those shots downfield, many of which go to JSN. This is like a total rebound spot, total get right spot for the Seahawks. Is I as I covered at the top, I do think that we learned some negative things about them last week, but this is not a spot where any of those things pop up. Like they're built to win these types of matchups handily, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
100%. It's just, I think the only thing we're looking for in this particular matchup is, the Mike McDonald to what his actual quote of Kenneth Walker is showing he's earning more opportunities. So, all right, what does that mean?
I don't know if it means. I don't know. I'm kind of torn because
Yep.
like 46% of the carries last week. Like, okay, that's not great.
Nope.
And they'll have plenty of carries here. So it could, it's a little bit like the Lions or the Patriots where the matchup's really good and they should run a bunch. So maybe we shouldn't get too caught up in the carry share part and just think about the raw volume, which should be there. But, if you think about the Lions, like it's almost like there's no Gibbs and we start with David Montgomery. Like Walker feels more Montgomery-esque to me than Gibbs here. But
Yeah.
this is a week where I'm playing Montgomery, right? So you got to think Walker is a decent play at least.
Yeah, at the same price point. You can get explosives. Yeah, the only thing I still want to see is if they're going to use him, near the goal line. I know he had the touchdown last week, but it literally came because they had to go hurry up before 2-minute warning, and he was on the field at that time. And it's like, all right, well, how static is that? He did have a long touchdown run called back in that game, but that's like I just don't want to be leaning on 20-yard touchdown runs if even is getting more carries. And then if you get the blowout, we did see like they weren't using. Yeah. And well, they had 2 blowouts the week before against the Commanders and the Cardinals, and everyone else just kind of gets involved at that point when you're beating the hell out of a team. It's just like, well, all right. Well, we were going to get him more involved, but it's like we're just cooking. So it's like we'll just start handing off to Helani and Charbonnet can have some carries, and it's like then you're just in a wide range of you're in a wider range of outcomes with him.
You are.
He's more of like he'd be like more of like a single entry tournament, like large field guy for me to take a shot on. But I think other people are going to get there on him, which is scary. So it's like, well, if they're all going to play him, like,
yeah, I agree. If he's not super chalky, then he's a lot more interesting. But, he's a tournament type of play though.
yeah,
he has the ceiling, and I think this would be a spot where we're like, yeah, crazy that Kenneth Walker went off against the Titans. They had a gigantic team total. So yeah, I think he's a pretty strong play. Not a smash necessarily because, like you're saying, he'll come with some ownership. But what are your thoughts on JSN? Because on the one hand, this is not a spot where they need to pass, but on the other, they don't pass ever, and
right.
JSN still gets there every single week. So like, why am I really going to doubt Jackson Smith and Jigba? Like, I mean, they don't. It's not like they need him, right? It's just the entire offense goes through him, and they're going to score points. So really strong chances of getting in the end zone here. And even if they demolish the Titans pretty quickly, he can still have an awesome game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the one thing with him now that he's been priced up is we haven't seen him drop like a lot of stealing bombs lately. It's just like you're getting your you're getting your 8 for 100 and we're getting out of here. Like feels like because last week my whole thesis was like he's gonna run 40 pass routes, so he's gonna go insane, right? Well, he did, and he just did his like same line. He ran 43 routes and still just dropped the same line. Quarterback played it and helped him out, but
right.
But yeah,
he had 2.39 yards per route run, which was a season low.
Season low. I mean,
by
he has
like
at least
a lot.
93 receiving yards in every game. You're confident in getting the bonus. He's just a strong play, right? And we've
Yep.
seen since the Titans lost L'Jarius Sneed, they've given up big games to Michael Pittman, big games to Nico Collins. I mean, I'm pretty confident like you're going to get 20 to 25 PPR points, and anything else on top of that is going to be pretty gravy.
The one guy that I'm kind of intrigued by, I want to get your thoughts on, is AJ Barner, who I misread what happened last week. So, or heading into last week, he had 38% route participation against the Cardinals, and Elijah Arroyo's route participation was up. And I'm like, oh, okay, the rookie's getting more run. Uh, Barner had been at 79%, fell to 38%. Barner had a calf injury heading into week 10, and they got up like right away in that game. And I think now having the week 11 data point
Yeah.
where he was back to 80% route participation, I think they just rested him. So if he's back, if the two data points that matter are 79% route participation and 80%, then you're looking at a guy who's got 1.56 yards per route run this year. He's got an 18% targets per route run. And if he's going to be out there a bunch with a team that I think is going to be at or near the end zone a lot, and is going to be doing a lot of play action, which is good for tight ends, then I mean, Barner 3,300. I think he's maybe a little underprojected this week. I think he might be more and kind of like I think I like him more than Theo Johnson, for example. And I don't
That'd be
think
fair.
people are So I'm not saying
It's
he's like
all
a
about
smash, but he's kind of intriguing to me.
it's just all about the team volume, right? Like, how much does the last 2 weeks does Mike McDonald say, like, we're not even going to throw anymore, like, at a
I don't
certain point in
like
this game, but they are going to throw successfully early in this game. It's like we can't be completely scared about that, but that's
I'm
all it be, just the whole
I don't
volume.
think I'm dead. If they pass 49% of the time, I don't think I'm dead with the Barner play because I'm getting
No,
play
I
action
mean,
and I'm getting
touchdown equity.
efficiency. Touchdown equity.
You
Like
might get a tush push.
Darnold has hit the 100th percentile in EPA per play twice this year. He's been 99th percentile or 97th percentile in EPA, 99th in success rate against the Bucks. Like he's had three insanely efficient games, and then against the Cardinals, he was 91st. He was 85th against the Jaguars. Like when it's cooking, it's really, really cooking for the Seahawks, and I think I think this will be a game where we get really strong efficiency. So that's more my interest is basically like, hey, these guys they're gonna hit their team total, which is 27. That's really what it comes down to. Like, and the running game's not that good. They're gonna run a lot, but the passing game is where the efficiency is. So I'm still intrigued by the passing game a little bit.
Yeah, and I think they'll be completely fine while they're throwing. I mean,
Uh Titans, anything?
nah, I mean, not against this defense. I mean, dude, lowest team total year. Calvin Ridley's out again. Like, who's doing anything in this game?
Van Jefferson might be their number one wide receiver. He ran the most routes last week. DK was hurt. DK will be playing in this game, but it's not good.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
good.
Cam Ward against this defense. I mean, what's the ceiling? He had 13 points against the Texans last week. That's as good as it gets, right?
Yeah. I will say, we did see them pass last week, 77% pass rate. So
Yeah.
if you need
He
like
had that one sick throw to Okonkwo, but again, they're gonna just rope people back in.
he has sweet throws. Like
He does
Jonathan
have sweet
James, he
throws.
can have sweet throws.
Yeah. He
Uh
ran a couple times last week, which we hadn't seen really.
Honestly, I will say because I've been very critical of Cam Ward this year, um, which he hasn't really gotten me back for yet, but maybe he will. Uh, he had 43rd percentile mark in EPA per play last week. That's not good, but it was against the Texans. So I would say he's coming
Yeah.
off his best game of the year, and if he wasn't going against arguably a better defense or at least as good, um, then I would actually have a little bit of optimism for him here. And so let's remember that for whenever the next time he doesn't face an elite defense, because maybe it could get better. It could get better. Don't have much faith here that they do
this
anything.
is one, if you've got an argument for a Titans guy, lay it out. But other than that, I don't really even see outside of desperation where you can go to.
Yeah, I'd be like, I literally ran out of receivers. I'm starting DK.
Yeah, or even the running backs. It's
buy.
just like you've got to need a body to play. I think Spears
because it's split, and
it's
this is where you want the receiving guy, but Spears is the tougher guy to play. So
it's bad offense. It's a good run defense. Yeah. It's just a terrible spot. There's a reason their team totals is here.
Yeah. Jets at Ravens. This is a pretty good spot for Derrick Henry, I'd say. Jets' run defense isn't bad. They're actually much worse against the pass, but it's the Jets. So there's run funnel defenses, and then there's run funnel teams. And the Jets are a run funnel team where they just can't force teams to actually need to throw the ball. And so teams run against the Jets at a pretty high rate. I think that's what we're going to get this week. Should be a pretty strong game for Derrick Henry, who has a chance to really get fed here. He's more of a guy where you're waiting for him to pop a couple or one really long one. And he's in a great spot to do that this week. So I like him. What are your thoughts on Henry and the Ravens?
Yeah, good spot for me. He's at least 20 touches in each of the past 5 games. He's a double-digit home favorite. As a home favorite or 7 or more points for his career, he averages 120 rushing yards per game. With the Ravens, he's at 17.6 PPR points per game as a touchdown favorite. And at home in the 6 home games, 20.2 PPR points per game. So I made sure to use PPR for the people would be like, well, I can never play him on DraftKings.
You can play him on DraftKings this week.
You can. You're allowed. I mean, this is. I think this is a pretty good get right spot for the Ravens offense as a whole. They face 2 teams I think that structurally give them problems at the things that they're bad at. This game reminds me as the setup is very similarly to Lamar's first game back against the Dolphins, where you have they're going against an aggressive defense that's aggressive out of necessity. Like they feel like it's necessary for them to be aggressive because they know they're not good. And that's kind of what the Jets are. And that's why it reminds me more of like the Dolphins matchup. So I don't really know if we're going to see Lamar maybe run the rest of the year at the degree we're expecting because of all the things that have piled up for him. But I feel like this is a spot too where we could have like even a 25 attempt game where he throws 3 or 4 touchdowns as well. Jets are 29th in passing points allowed per attempt. Lamar still leads the NFL in that category. They blitz, they play a lot of man coverage, and they don't do either of them well. So, especially since
lost Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, like yeah.
I think it's a lot better outlook than it was the past 2 weeks for the Ravens, though. In general, I have some fun stuff too. This one, because listen, I think we were right about DeAndre Hopkins last week. Well, you were never with it, but it did play out. It played out. They were just bad. Dude. He ran season high route share. He was second on the team in air yards. Like dead even with Zay Flowers in air yards.
You got me on. I didn't realize that Hopkins had been consolidating all these receiver routes. So it was a bit of a revelation, but you're right. You made the call on Hopkins. 71% route participation last week. He was the dude.
They were just bad. Like they offensively, systemically were underperformed. It wasn't his fault. It's like no, but he still has the good splits against man coverage and stuff. So it's like I think if you're again in desperation on this week where I said like we're missing all these wide receivers, I think the thesis was right, and now it's a better spot where his quarterback is probably going to perform better.
I think the thesis was right, and he's in a better spot. Yeah, I think that's true. Now I haven't looked. What is he?
He's 33.
33. Yeah.
There's a cheaper receiver in this game that was kind of fun.
Are you talking 80 Mitchell?
Yeah.
Oh man, tell me about that.
I mean, it happened again though. Like this is who he is. Like, granted, you never know until he has to catch football. But this dude, his first game of the team plays 2/3 of the routes, 64%. He's targeted on 29%. He's at 56% target rate against man coverage. Against Christian Gonzalez was like getting open. He had 6 first read targets, highest on the team. And like going back to last year, like this guy just earns targets on wide receivers that run 200 or more routes. He's a wide receiver 13 target rate. Get this. There's 140 receivers in the NFL that have run 200 or more routes since the start of last year. He's number 1 in target rate against man coverage. 42% of his routes he's gotten targeted. Now, I don't know what the hell he's going to do when the ball gets to him, Yeah, you can't tell you that.
I do.
Like, but they're facing a man heavy team again, like the Ravens, third in the rate of single high, fifth in the rate of man coverage, and Tyrod Taylor might be an upgrade. So we have to play a gross dude this week, right? Like there has to be, if you want to play Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Trey McBride, there has to be a gross dude. DeAndre Hopkins, gross dude, dust ball.
Luther
AD
Burden.
Mitchell,
Luther
gross
Burden's
ball.
not even that gross.
He's in the 4s though, right?
He's 3.6.
Oh, 3.6. Okay, yeah, he counts too. Yeah, Luther Burden is the best of those guys for sure.
Here's some quotes that I think you'll like. So the first quote is actually, I treat this as bearish. This is again from Coach Speak Index's Discord. AD Mitchell is awesome as a person. He's been phenomenal so far. Just like being around him, he's got good energy, great attitude.
Oh,
and to me, that's where it starts. When I see him,
friend zoned.
I think he's one of us. I think he's one of us. That's like the most bearish stuff. That's the Keon Coleman. Like, man, this dude cracks me up. I just can't. What a hilarious guy.
Great personality.
Like, cool. Yeah, great personality. That's extremely bearish. That was from Tanner Engstrom. However, he also said,
"Oh boy."
He had some drops last week, and that happens occasionally. But what I see there is separation. I see separation, and to me, that gets me fired up. That gets me excited about a player and where he's going to go. We haven't even seen it. We haven't even seen it or scratched the surface with that guy, and we're excited about where he's going to go. And man, what a hilarious guy. I really like being around him. I made that last part. But there's some bullishness and bearishness there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, going back to his college profile, like this guy's been more hype than substance. Like there's
for sure.
There's no getting around that.
But if you were gonna if you're gonna kind of pinpoint what the issue is, it seems like part of the issue with AD Mitchell is that when he isn't being targeted, he's not like his head's not in the game. Also, when he catches the ball, he fumbles it out of the end zone. He holds on running plays and he drops the ball constantly. Some other issues, but I do think like if you are going to try to make it work with AD Mitchell, targeting him relentlessly it could work. So I don't hate the call. I'm gonna hop aboard AD Mitchell train with you, and
you don't have to.
Man. I'm gonna.
I mean,
do it. I'm already on board. Don't kick me off.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's just he's always been a guy. It's like, well, if he's running routes, he's gonna have opportunities, and you just see what happens. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I get it, but like it said, how do we fit in these guys? Like, how do we get Tom and Ra? How do we get there's not a lot of, like you brought up, I think Burden is by far the best of the dudes we just rattled off, but like we have to get to something that's uncomfortable still on the slate. You know, you still have to play an uncomfortable play if you want to play the best plays.
Right. Ravens side, Henry, obviously we talked about being a great play, but Zay Flowers.
It did gloss over Zay Flowers, who is actually better than the better receiver.
Talk DeAndre Hopkins and not Zay Flowers.
I just wanted to say that I thought I was right last week and while I was wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that happens a lot. You know, that we were like, I was actually right. What you don't understand is that process is really what. And
did you understand it? I have a great personality.
You'd really like being around me. Unfortunately, I lost.
I'll make you laugh.
I'll make you laugh. Any interest in Zay Flowers here?
Yeah, I do actually. His one bugaboo is that the touchdown stuff we talk about all the time. Like it's seemingly like this. There's like when they get across the 20, they're like they forget he's alive.
Yeah.
But a great spot for him. All the stuff that lines up for him. He's got team high target against man coverage, team high target rate against the blitz. Since the trade of Sauce Gardner, Jamar Chase, 12 catches, 91 yards. Jerry Jeudy, 6 for 78 and 1. Stephon Diggs, 9 for 105. All of those receivers had double-digit targets. Could we not get double-digit targets here because the Ravens are flooding him? Sure, but everything does line up. If he's going to score a touchdown again too, eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
So like this good spot for it's a genuinely good spot for him.
Yeah. I mean, the touchdown stuff is frustrating, but he's a very good receiver, and they're going to put up points here. So don't want to overthink it. Touchdowns aren't the most predictable thing. So
Yeah. Well,
Who's going to
the
score
way he
touchdowns?
doesn't score touchdowns have been predictable.
It's a little more predictable, yeah.
Because they just don't use him down there. But it's
Right,
like,
right,
like, and it's a
right,
bummer because you would think like he's a guy. I think we've talked about that. Like he gets open. Like he should be.
right. He needs to like do like the Hunter Renfro. Like he
We
needs
didn't
to
talk about
show the
this with
coaches.
we didn't talk about this with Downs, but before the bye, the Colts were starting to do this with Downs a little bit near the red zone because he's so good at getting open. Like they
Yeah,
were just
yeah.
starting to do some 3-by-1 stuff or ISO him, and like because they're like, oh, he's just gonna get open. Like let's start to use him down here. It's like, man, Zay Flowers could do that.
He needs to put out like a hype tape of him getting open, like, within a yard or two. Like it's like he's the new guy, that's the best at that. Because I feel like he could be the best at that. He's very good. He gets open quickly.
And Mark Andrews is the exact opposite because he has nothing outside of the 20, and then he scores 2
Right,
touchdowns.
right. Yeah, it's the Devontae Adams Puka thing, but makes less sense.
Yeah.
Um,
They did run the sweet fake tush push, which was just what a call at that time
oh
of the
man,
game.
that was such a sweet play.
On 4th
That
and
was
1
such a
too,
sweet
like
play.
to pull that out in the execution, like perfect.
My wife's parents were in town, and I'm like, they don't watch football, and I'm like, come, you got to see this. You got to see this play from the Ravens. Mark Andrews just housing it. That was so fun.
And fast still.
Yeah, still got it. Browns at Raiders. Whew.
Oh baby.
I feel like I'm out of this, like, my God, this quarterback play. Like I feel like I've used it up on the Vikings and the Titans. I don't know if I've got it in me for the Browns.
Not this one, man.
It's
How many sacks do you think there'll be in this game?
like total.
Yeah. Like if I gave like what do you think the actual number should
Oh
be?
my
The line
God.
should be set at.
Oh my God. It should be set at 13.5.
Dude, the
What are you
Browns?
taking? Are you taking the over or the under?
Shit, I might take the over, man.
That's a good line then. That's a
Yeah.
good line.
Dude, I mean,
That's a lot
the
of sacks.
Browns, the last 3 weeks, the Browns have a 19% sack rate. So basically, one of every 5 dropbacks, they get a sack. Geno Smith,
I think
under
the league-wide pressure rate is, I think, like 23%.
dude,
So
the
they're like sacking like other teams' pressure.
yeah, I mean, they're better. They have a better sack rate than the 49ers have a pressure rate the last like 2 months of football. Like Geno Smith has been deplorable with any type of pressure, and this goes back
Oh,
multiple
it's
years
so
for
bad.
him. And then you have Shedeur Sanders on the other side who welcomes pressure when he's not pressured because he wants to hold the football and extend plays. Like, dude, there are gonna be so many sacks in this game.
Geno Smith's doing the sacks where you don't see these sacks that commonly anymore because there's like more guys are mobile, but like where the pocket just collapses and like 8 guys like all sack him, including his own offensive lineman. It's,
And also, yeah, they're still missing their 2 best offensive linemen still not playing. So
yeah, they their left tackle's been out for a while and he's a huge loss, Colt Miller. So yeah.
yeah, Jackson Powers Johnson being out, it's
Yeah, he just went on IR. Alex Kappa's been a liability in pass protection. Last week they kicked their center to right guard, and then they played the backup center at center, and then both of them were horrible. So that didn't work. Pete Carroll's son is coaching the offensive line. It's been a huge setback from where they were last year. They have dealt with injuries, but the offensive line is a major issue. And the Browns are like they're first in pass rush win rate, they're first in pass rush grade. They're only 16th in pressure rate, but that's because you
teams
just
just
get the
yeah.
ball out super quickly. But when, as you're mentioning, they're getting home and actually generating sacks when they pressure. So they extremely effective pressure. They're 5th in DVOA
They lead
total
the
because they have
I'm sorry, they're
an elite
second.
run defense. Oh, they're second. Okay,
In
sorry.
pressure to sack rate
Pressure to
is
sack rate.
they're 29.4%. So 29.5% of their pressures basically get I say and Geno's 25th in that department, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say they're about to be first because Geno Smith's he's converting pressures to sacks. But yeah, I mean the Browns, it's not just the pass rush. Their coverage has gotten better. They're just 7th in coverage grade. They're 5th in DVOA overall. seventh in passing DVOA, seventh in EPA against the pass, ninth in success rate, and they have the best run defense in the league. So teams are running against them at a very high rate, but purely to avoid passing. And so just another like rock fight setup here, man. Like you're going to see a bunch of Genty get hit in the backfields, 2-3 yard type stuff.
Both backs. It's the mirror match.
It's yeah. I mean, I have a little bit more faith in Judkins, I think, but then again, I have no faith in Shedeur, man. No faith in Shedeur here.
The best thing I can say about Sure Sanders is he's not Dylan Gabriel, and I don't even know if that's a pro yet. I just
it's not a pro. Here's the two of them on the EPA chart. Now this is sort of unfair to Shedeur, but it's actually kind of fair because he's on. This is per game, so negative EPA per game. You're going to rack up less negative EPA in a quarter and a half or whatever he had.
Yeah.
He's still by far the worst in the league in that one game.
And it's funny because that chart would end at 3 different points. Like it should end at Cooper Rush, and then it should end at Jonathan James, and then it should end at Dylan Gabriel, and then it should end at...
It's so bad. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like I think they're just gonna have to feed Judkins and try to hide.
But at least I'll say, only to defend his terrible EPA-ness, is at least he tries stuff that leads to bad plays. Like where Dylan Gabriel is just like, so like he doesn't try anything and is bad. Like
that's true.
So at least that, like the Jameis factor, old school Jameis factor, like could he just like be terrible and help us make excitement?
That's the thing with Shedeur is that he plays like he's this playmaker, but he's
not. That's always been his problem because he has no arm strength.
He's no arm strength, and he's not fast. So he's like a scrambler. Like, oh, I'm moving around the pocket, and then it's like, yeah, great, you're sacked, and you lost us 16 yards. So the drive's over. Thanks. It's so bad, man.
He had a 14% turnover worthy throw rate, which would have been tops last week.
The other thing is that like Sanders was drafted with the 144th pick in the draft, and I know there was like some stuff about he had a list of teams he wanted to go to, and he turned a ton of teams off, and he's clearly not on a bunch of teams' boards, and then he told the Ravens he didn't want to even play there. So like his fall in the draft was not like entirely related to his tape, but it wasn't unrelated to his tape either. The idea, like, I just don't think we ever like fully corrected mentally about like the level of prospect that we're talking about, because he was talked about like he might go as the number 1 pick, and then he was talked about like he might go top 10, and like dude fell to the 5th round. And with his profile, his statistical profile as a 5th round pick, he came out behind Will Howard for me in my quarterback model. He was in the same tier as Howard and Riley Leonard and Kyle McCord. Like this is a straight up backup quarterback level prospect. Like just objectively, like I mean, maybe there's more upside because some of it was like a little bit more about like his, kind of off the field stuff, but I don't know that is good. I don't know that, him playing this year when, it just came out this past week, a little bit more clarity on the original plan was for him to like truly redshirt this year and not play at all. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's the 5th round. You take a guy in the 5th round and you're like, our plan is to like make sure he doesn't see the field as a rookie. It's not, it doesn't strike me as bullish that he is now seeing the field as a rookie. Maybe 2-3 years from now, there is more upside if you can kind of, refine the playmaking style a little bit, get him to play more within structure and stuff. I don't know. But this week, the Raiders defense isn't good. They do have Max Crosby, who is awesome. I guess I'd say like compared to Ward, who's set up for just a horrible matchup this week, compared to Jonathan James, who's going against the Packers, like Shedeur would be the guy who could maybe surprise us because he has the easiest matchup against the Raiders. But I also have like the least confidence in him as the player, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you can't have any confidence in this because any quarterback that's even going back to Flacco in this team environment was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, Gabriel's been probably the best they've had this year.
And again, on that chart,
he's like the worst quarterback in the league.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
just it's hard to buy in on anything here, and it's completely ruined what was looking like was gonna be like a good Judkins run out, and when he first started, and it's just completely sapped him. Like the past 5 games, he's been like borderline unusable. Like he's just a
Yeah.
paperweight. Like and same thing, he has the same problems. Like he's not getting any yards before contact. And the one thing, the tiebreaker between him and Jainty, because uh they're like kind of the same boat, and not their offensive lines are bad, the offensive environment's bad. At least like Jainty will catch a couple passes. Like Judkins has 70 receiving yards in the entire season. Like he doesn't even have a catch in 3 of his past 5 games. So like you don't even have that as an out.
Yeah.
It's a bummer because he looked really good like that first month we got him on the field, and like the
Hmm.
Browns were kind of competitive, and they've even had some game scripts where they've been like okay, like last week, but like it's just dude runs for 3 yards per carry, man, and like that's all you're getting. And it's not his fault because his yards after contact stuff's good. It's clearly like he has no holes, but
So I looked into their tackles this week because
yeah,
so
they're all
Demond
banged
Jones is
up.
on IR. Yeah, Cam Robinson and Jack Conklin were both limited with knee injuries, but it looks like they could play. But I was like, man, if they don't play, looked at 75 tackles, 200 plus snaps this year. Cornelius Lucas, one of the backups, ranks 73rd in pass block grade, and then the other backup, KT Leviston, is dead last. Like, man, you really hope these backup tackles aren't in 73rd and 75th, the 75 qualifiers. But then you look at the guys who actually are going to start probably, and they're 71st and 72nd. So it doesn't matter. It's just his offensive line is horrible.
No, he and Jane, both these running backs, every week, when I'm doing stuff, I'm like, I'm gonna move these guys way down, and then I can't because of the
Right.
landscape. But I'm just like, no confidence though for any type of ceiling for either of these guys in these particular matches, because the Raiders are 4th in yards allowed before contact running backs. Like their run defense has actually been pretty solid. So it's like I said, it is very much from your this game probably still goes under, right? Like I like what how does anyone score points in this game?
So the total is 36.
Still
Jeez.
probably goes under. It's like 13-10 or like some shit, dude. Like
Do you realize I just didn't hit me until now that I set the sack total for this game
that
at the
13.
implied team total of the Titans,
Yes.
and you took the over.
I mean, dude, this might be the game where Miles can make the push for the sack record. Like, kind of real get
Come
into
on, man. That would be
get
fun.
into
That's a fun
something.
angle for this game. Not seeing a lot else here. I don't think Njoku does look like he's going to play. It was the latest, so that makes Fannin way less interesting. Um, we'll see on that.
I mean, you're obviously just playing Bowers. I pulled some interesting Bauer stuff. I'm a little worried that the Raiders are overusing him as a receiver now. Not that you're worried, like you're playing him. He's tight
I'm
end
not
one
worried. I
also.
would like more of that. What do you mean?
Oh, because we've seen like this with Kyle Pitts. Like these guys, you can't play a guy that's not a wide receiver at wide receiver consistently and expect them to beat NFL cornerbacks. Like they're
Mhm.
not good enough in that capacity. So Bauer, since the bye, has been just playing wide receiver on 23% of his snaps. But on his routes this season, lined up out wide, he's only been targeted on 18% of his routes, 1.54 yards per route run. In the slot, where you want him, 44% target rate per route run, 4 yards per route run. Here's a fun one when I went underneath the hood here. He's only played 21, he's only ran 21 routes in line. He's been targeted 71% of the time for
Whoa,
5.6 yards per route. 13 of 15 targets, 118 yards and a touchdown when he's been like an inline tight end. Like mix in some more stuff, like get a little more creative. But I do just worry that they're starting to overuse him because the state of the receiver is just as a receiver, because you want him to be a mismatch in the interior
for
of the
sure.
field. Um,
I will note that um, last week he was double covered on 45% of
because
his routes
and you can double cover him if he's going to line up out wide.
if he's lining out wide. So that would probably be part of it. Is that it's actually easier to double cover him when he's out wide, and teams are doing that. So it's not like necessarily he can't get open against single coverage out wide, but it makes it easier to take him away and double cover him, which is what the Cowboys did. And he was still targeted on 24% of his routes, but he only had 1.47 yards per route run. and turned in a pretty disappointing line of 7 catches, 72 yards. Didn't score a touchdown against the Cowboys defense that I was expecting more against.
Well,
This
I mean, he's dealing with systemic failure at this point.
100%.
There's a lot more to it.
100%. Yeah.
And you're playing him like you're not like he's largely still you're gonna take those targets always and just throw them at the wall. But like we're probably not gonna aggressively play him on the slate.
No. Unfortunately, no. Yeah, McBride's 800 more and just is gonna score more points by probably a lot. Jaguars at Cardinals getting into the late slate here.
We're doing all right. We're doing all right.
We're doing okay. We're not as we're doing okay. We'll see. We'll see how we land the plane. We still have 4 games left.
Do we?
Yeah, there's 4 games on the late slate.
Well, we did Browns already.
Oh, we did Browns. We
So
did
we're all
Browns.
right.
Sorry. That game. Yeah, no, I said we kicked off the late slate. We already kicked off the late slate, so that's good. 3 games left. All right. Cardinals. This is one of the things we talked about at the top. Like the Cardinals last week, didn't end up jamming him DFS. That was ultimately the move. I think it's kind of back to the well here with the Cardinals. Jaguars are a huge pass funnel, biggest pass funnel in the league. Teams are averaging a 69% pass rate against them. 6 of 10 opponents have a 70% plus pass rate, 71% actually plus pass rate, including their last 3 opponents: the Raiders, Texans with Davis Mills, and Chargers, who can't pass protect. Had 71, 71, and 73% pass rates. 4% PROE. Opponents are averaging against the Jaguars 3% shift in PROE to the pass. Jaguars numbers don't look terrible against the pass, but they've generated some turnovers. They're 25th in dropback success rate. I think that tells kind of the real story about how easy it is to pass on them. And then you also have this like chunk play type of passing game with Jacoby Brissett. You also have a team that's been very aggressive with Brissett under center. 7% PROE, 8% and 7% over the last 3 games since the bye. 14, 13, and 11% on 1st and 10. You've got pass rates that are pretty high, 59% against the Cowboys, but then 75 and 77% over the last 2 weeks. And this is a spot where I think they're going to be dropping back plenty. Looks like a competitive game. Honestly, the Chiefs are kind of the Cardinals are calling plays like the Chiefs right now. Like they're that kind of pass heavy, that aggressive. I think you see them on this chart here. Their pass rate now is in line with the Chiefs. They've had a higher expected pass rate, so they're not like dictating the pass the same way the Chiefs do, but the end result's pretty similar. Like we can expect a pass rate in line with Kansas City. And I think, probably higher than the typical Kansas City pass rate in this matchup, given the pass funnel nature of the defense.
Yeah, they're not going to line up with Michael Carter and Bam Knight against the Jaguars and
No.
run successfully in this game. We've seen it. Yeah. Brissett 47, 46, 37, 53, 57 dropbacks. 4 of those losses. The only minor concern I have, because I'm with you, like this is pass funnel, is that you can only get yourself out of the game scripts they've been in these past 2 weeks so often for fantasy football. Like there is a house of cards, like you saw happen ironically against the Jaguars last week with the Chargers. Like you don't always want to be down 30 points because eventually, like in the last 2 weeks, like we've gotten there with the Cardinals, but like they've been absolutely just dusted in the first half of these games. Like Brissett last week had 4 points at halftime. The week before that, he only had 3.5 fantasy points at halftime. And like eventually one of those is going to turn into the tide where they never get out of that hole. That's like the one minor concern.
Also, teams hate being in those holes, and we've seen like the Panthers have that mode. They hit that mode last week, but they're also trying extremely hard to not get down like that.
Yeah, you like play. There's a difference between playing in shootouts and then constantly like just garbaging it up.
Yeah,
and they've been a little bit on the other side of it these last 2 weeks.
Like if the Cardinals, I don't think they'll do this, but if they shifted to the run this week, it wouldn't be crazy because they're trying. They're like, hey, let's try and keep this game close.
Yeah, let's not be down 30 at halftime.
Right.
I mean, that game last week got thrown into like a crazy state immediately. Like Sky Moore runs that kickoff back to the 1. I don't know how many NFL games have started with a 1-yard touchdown, but that one did. And then they punt after like 5 plays, and the 49ers score in the next 5 plays. It's 13-0 with 5 minutes in the game, and like kind of just going off chaos. The other thing too, the other element in this play in this game is that even though they dropped back 57 times last week, and with 49ers on a slate, so we won't talk about, but like the 49ers didn't even sack Jacoby Brissett once. Like that's how down bad the 49ers pass rush is. Is like they can't even get gifted a sack. The Jaguars once in a while can muster up a pass rush. And it's like, and Jonah Williams got put on IR today. Kelvin Beachum left last week's game. It's like they're probably going to face a better pass rush than last week too. So just we probably won't have that pure flex run out, but they're going to have to throw a lot regardless. So I think you just have to say, yes, there is volatility in this matchup where it can be completely dumb and we just get nothing out of these Cardinals finally once. But the matchup, all this setup again, pass funnel, they're going to have to throw. Jaguars have also been way worse on the road. Like their last 2 road games, they gave up 36, so only technically 29 though, because that Sheldon Rankins run back at the end of the game to Davis Mills, and they gave up 29 points to Geno Smith in the previous game on the road. So like you have that going for us.
You do, and you've got Trey McBride, who's just an absolute monster right now.
He is a wagon.
He is a wag. He's the wagon of the week. Expected points 18.1, and he's delivering 18.5 PPR points per game this year. Targets per route run at 24%.
Since week 6, 25 PPR point, 24.5.
Yeah, I mean his recent stuff. I don't have touchdowns in here. I don't have the fantasy points in here, but yeah, I mean he's producing pretty well in terms of the yardage, and then just scoring a ton of points. He's getting a ton of double coverage, but drawing targets really consistently. And then like these rate numbers are good if they're going to be paired with really high end passing volume. I mean, that's, it's huge for fantasy. Michael Wilson, 35% first read target rate last week. Now that's not going to hold like an elite number for the season. Is like 25%. So that was kind of outrageous. I think that actually points to maybe even some more upside for McBride with Harrison out, because he was only at 18% last week. And, we could see that swing up. We've seen him spike into the mid 20s, and I could definitely see that again this week. And, he's just scoring so well. So McBride is just a smash here. But Wilson, like, this isn't an accident. They were like, we're going to make sure that we get Michael Wilson involved. He's the next man up, not from a playing time perspective. He's been consistently out there, but they really treated him as the next man up on the play sheet. So, he's not that good. He was driven by a specific game plan that really focused on getting the ball, and it probably won't be that focused on getting the ball this week. However, he should probably, I don't expect him to disappear either, and he's not super expensive. So I think he's in play again. He's not maybe a great play, but I think he's a totally fine play this week in DFS.
Yep, not underlying metrics were all pretty good, even if there's a reduction, even if you do, you go to 35 dropbacks instead of 57. And then everything lines up again. Jaguars are 31st in points allowed to wide receiver ones. Their outside receiver stuff is terrible. 26th in touchdown rate. It's like, and the pass one, like it just all comes again. Dortch is the one you'd be worried about because his usage was like he's the dude that got by in the box score through the game script. Because he only had what, a 11% target share, 6% of the team air yards. You got the touchdown. That's on one. If you're like, you reduce the dropbacks, it's bad. Xavier Weaver operated as the wide receiver too. Dortch was still like for the primary slot. Just Weaver exercised the whole game.
Dortch had a 15% targets per route run.
Yeah, he would be the guy to be sketchy on. But I think the way this slate plays out too, well, like in your season long stuff, like I think Wilson's like an actual just like fine like wide receiver too in like season long stuff right now. And then at 4,800, he just fits a lot of the way you're going to want to build this week because you need like some sub 5K receivers.
Yeah, when I say he's like not a great play, it's because he's probably gonna be pretty chalky.
Well, because he was just the nuts, and we know how this goes.
For season long and all that stuff, like, yeah, there's spots where I'm like, Michael Wilson's, starting here, and I'm benching other dudes to fit Wilson in. Like, Yep, you are. You know,
I'm in a main event, and I was at my buddy's house last Saturday, and we just didn't want to play Mooney, and it was like, let's just pick up Michael Wilson. Who cares? And we just,
hell
like
yeah.
we just didn't want, and it just worked. It was like cool. Like so we get to play him again this week. So we get to play him again this week too. So it's like, all right, complete luck box into that.
Yeah, I mean he's a very strong play at 4,800.
Yeah, but he's just really solid, and we could be undercutting it still too because the matchup is just as bad, like or as good as it was last week. Depending on how you look at it, like.
Yep. Yeah, I mean if it's more competitive, like we don't necessarily need like that game script we got
We're
last
not
week. Like,
counting on 18 targets.
no, we're not. But we're also like the thing with the Cardinals is they've been so aggressive in terms of the pass rate that if you give them, an expected pass rate of 63%, like we can hit a 70% pass rate. We could, but it doesn't have to be from them getting crushed, like putting in, we don't need the garbage time stuff. In fact, I would prefer not to have it. I would prefer them give me like a 58%, have them be a slight lead all game, and then they can pass, be like the Chiefs, like the Bengals, like when they actually aren't getting crushed, where you're dictating the pass a little bit to an opponent where they're worse at stopping the pass than they are at stopping the run. On the Jaguars side of this, I mean, there's some optimism here, I would say, for Trevor Lawrence as far as the efficiency goes, but I am starting to view where because last week Trevor Lawrence had a 69th percentile mark in EPA per play, second highest of the year, and 97th percentile in success rate, by far his highest of the year. But you also had a team that was really, really run heavy, and they ran, I believe, 41 or 42 carries to running backs last week. Now,
And since the bye, they've kind of done that.
Yeah, 51, 63, and 37% pass rates. This is tied with the Jets for the second lowest pass rate of the year. Seahawks have passed 26% of the time a few weeks ago, and that's the low mark for 2025. But 37% is extremely low. We saw them rolling Bashal Tutin and Travis Etienne, and then LaQuint Allen had 8 carries on the final drive, totaling 42 carries to running backs last week, 19 ETN, 15 Tutin, LaQuint Allen, 8. I think I'm starting to think about them as kind of maybe like Seahawks without the defense, where they're just like, we're trying to limit Trevor Lawrence, but utilize him in, there's some things he does do well. Let's limit the amount of dependence that we have on him and use the run game to kind of move the chains. They have a much more interesting and exciting run game, I would say, actually, than the Seahawks, where both backs have played well this year. Tutin's kind of like the burst guy. He's breaking tackles. He also ran like a 4.35 40. So yeah, I do think some long runs are
we haven't
in
seen
there.
him yet. We haven't seen like the big explosives yet.
Dude, we almost got it. I don't know if you that run where he was like stumbling, he like almost kept his feet, and
he's not on the injury report either, the final injury report.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah, they just announced it. They did roll a BTJ, by the way. We get there.
They did.
But
Okay.
yeah. So, but Tutin's not even on the injury report.
I'm playing so much Tutin.
I think he's been playing because what's like the real difference between him and David Montgomery?
Wait, I'm seeing limited. I'm seeing limited.
He's on the final injury report. He's not. He has no game status.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Like he's not questionable. He's not.
Oh, beautiful.
Like he's. You know what I mean? Like yeah. He.
Oh
was
yeah,
limited.
I see. Okay, yeah. The status I see. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Not
like
questionable.
that. I mean, he's not even questionable. Like he's
Not even
not
questionable.
Like he's not. He is. So that means he's like he's a go.
He's a go. Oh man. Let's go.
Because I think there's not a big difference, I think, between him and David Montgomery, because you're kind of looking at the touchdown, and he's interchangeable too. If they stick with last week, because ETN's dealing with the shoulder too, so they kind of made them both interchangeable. First quarter, 2 and 6 touches, ETN 3. First half, 8 touches for 2 and 6 for ETN. Through 3 quarters, 14 for 2 and 12 for ETN. So it was like a 50. It was like literally 50-50.
When he left, it was 15-13.
Yeah.
When he got hurt.
And the Cardinals are getting Will Johnson back who has significantly made their pass defense better.
He's
And
been really good. Yeah.
maybe it doesn't matter for them at this point of the season, but their run defense has been awful these like past 5 weeks. They're 27th in yards per carry to running backs, 26th in yards per game, and they're going as a team that has swerved into the run more as the season has progressed. They've also allowed a top 10 fantasy score in 3 of those 5 games. So there, I think, is meat on the bone here for both guys to still be utilized. And it is a kind of wide open slate, 4,600. Like I said, I don't see like a real seismic difference between him and David Montgomery.
I don't either. I think like last week could have been the type of game where we're all talking about like, oh, did Bashal Tootin just take over the Jaguars? But then he gets hurt. Everyone who was excited about Tootin, and look, I mean, Tootin is my highest drafted running back in best ball. So I want this to happen. There's definitely some bias here. But I also think it is happening. Like I think he looks awesome out there and he gives them this kind of power element. What I think is happening is not that he's like fully taking over the backfield, but that this is a team that wants to shift to the run with a quarterback who's been really inconsistent. There's like rumblings like that maybe he's not the dude for this regime. Like they might try to make a move in the offseason or whatever. Like he has not secured himself as the long-term starter for Liam Cohen and whatever their 31-year-old GM's name is now. I'm blanking. But Gladstone, James Gladstone. Yeah. Those guys like this, you get one shot usually as a head coach, GM. Like Dayball never got his guy. He got his guy and he got fired halfway into the dude's rookie season. Like you tie yourself to a quarterback you don't want, it can end badly for you. So I think they could end up moving on. Like that could be where they're starting to lean. At the very least, I think they think their best chance of winning games is to pound the rock.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to involve both running backs, I think, going forward. I think both guys are going to have pretty big roles, but Tootin, honestly, more than ETN, has been the consistent guy all season. Like Tootin is running back 3 in success rate. He has a 52% success rate. That is elite. He is breaking tackles. He's running back 9 in elusive rating. We aren't seeing the breakaway runs yet, but again, he's got the speed. He almost popped on last week. I think we get those. ETN has had really strong breakaway numbers. He's running back 12 in breakaway yards per game. The success rate's not awful, but it's not great. He's running back 25 there. And so as like a thunder lightning thing, it makes sense to incorporate Tootin. The upside is that he is thunder and lightning, right? He is the storm. That's what I'm hoping. But even if he's not, even if he's just the thunder, this is a week where he gets like 12 carries, scores a touchdown. You're very happy at 4,600.
And that's what I think like a lot of people are telling themselves about David Montgomery. That's why I kind of made the court
exactly Or Stevenson. I think he's kind of Ramondre Stevenson, but I'd much rather play him than Ramondre Stevenson. He's cheaper, and I feel more confident about
him not being on the injury report too, where you're just like they said, like he's a go.
Man, dude, I was so bummed last week when because it looked like high ankle.
Yeah,
he's out 4 to 6 weeks. It's late in the season. He's basically done. So man,
we survive.
We survived. Anything on this passing game?
Not a whole lot, just because they've gone so much into the run, and then Will Johnson coming back. But at least BTJ being out keeps it kind of relatively concentrated between Washington and Myers, because we saw Myers get a little bit more last week, especially like in terms of first read stuff. He had more stuff dialed up for him, because eventually I still think Washington's gonna end up getting squeezed because he's gonna be the primary slot guy, and that's just if you're gonna be on a run heavy team and be the primary slot guy, you're probably going to end up getting mushed a little bit. But as with BTJ being out, at least keeps him alive for your season long flex wide receiver flexus type stuff. Same thing with Myers. Just you need to get pushed here into a better game state, which also is in the realm of possibilities too. Like there's a way this game could actually turn into being more fun too for the Jaguars.
Jacoby Myers is 4,700. I think he's somewhat interesting. He's had a decent connection with Trevor Lawrence, and Lawrence was decently efficient, gets a good matchup even with Will Johnson back. I don't think this is like a super scary matchup. They don't really have much of a pass rush, so kind of a little bit more limited, maybe some more play action using the run game, and then you're kind of efficiently. I don't love Lawrence here because I don't think you're going to get a lot of volume, but Jacoby Myers is somewhat interesting. 2.56 yards per out run and 3.20 over the last 2 weeks.
And we've already seen with Lawrence, even like with if you wanted to change matchups, like he hasn't been that dude. Like you can't.
No.
Like all of his spike weeks have come with rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with him, man. He was like, because I've been looking at some of the quarterback stuff. I've been digging into the quarterback class coming in a little bit and looking back at some of the past quarterbacks, and like Lawrence was I mean, obviously he was considered like generational and stuff, but all the stuff I look at, he was still a really good prospect. Like, he really was.
Yeah.
It wasn't just hype. Like, he was a really good prospect. Just hasn't happened.
No, and I think early on in the season, Cohen wanted to adapt him to the stuff Cohen wanted to do, the quick passing game and be a little more pass heavy, and it just wasn't working out. And he calibrated as the season went on.
Yeah. Well, hand the ball off to Bashal Tootin. We'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the one thing that this game could get bogged down if they're just running the ball that effectively. But like I said, it's still in the realm of possibilities that like a couple weeks ago when they played the Raiders, right? Like it still ended up being a pretty fun game
Yeah.
for fantasy football. So like that still definitely exists on the table here if you are chasing a Myers or a Parker Washington as well.
Yeah, and I don't think this is the Seahawks or sometimes the Packers, right? Or like these teams that are just gonna like grind it out running the ball. This is a run game that can be efficient and explosive. So this game could be fun with a run. Again, to bring it back to the Lions, that's maybe more. That might actually be a better comparison in a lot of ways, as opposed to the Seahawks of like what they're trying to get to, which I think they could pull it off. Both these running backs look good. Falcons at Saints. So we're not closing with this game. We've got one more game left. Don't worry. But this game, man, you know what? I've been bearish on a number of quarterbacks, but I'm just really excited for Kirk Cousins. No, I I do think that we are starting to see some flashes from Tyler Shuck as an inconsistent, but potentially, a little bit of like downfield pop. 82nd percentile in EPA per play against the Panthers. He was 30th percentile in success rate. But like what you said about Shedeur Sanders is like not being the Dylan Gabriel, where it's like always bad. Like we're never getting. This is like the premium version where like Rattler's your good Dylan Gabriel, and Shuck might be like the more fun kind of Sanders-y type, where like it's inconsistent, but there actually are some plays. I think from the perspective of Chris Olave, maybe Shuck is enough. Olave had 4 yards per route run against the Panthers, 2.38 against the Rams. It is just him now, but like he was profiling as just like ridiculous positive regression candidate, and he actually isn't anymore. He's like running a little bit cold, but he's 1.85 yards per route run. He has a 28% target share. He's delivering semi-efficiently on an elite role, or at least a high-end role. 15.9 expected points per game. Like it's a boom bust setup because the quarterback play I don't think is good, but there's maybe enough from Shuck where he can support Chris Olave just getting fed.
Yeah, I have him in kind of my tournament section this week too. 30% of the team, 31% of team targets, 52% of the air yards that last game without Rashid Shaheed. The Falcons are one of those teams that like don't really alter the coverages they play. They play cover 3 at the highest rate in the league, single high. And that's where Olave gets all his targets anyway. So I think he's pretty interesting. I think it'll be a lot more volatile because when we talked about Shuck 2 weeks ago, because they were on bye, we had a little bit of optimism because the Panthers matchup, because the Panthers just can't rush the passer. And that's the opposite here. Even though the Falcons have gotten pretty bad defensively overall, they're still blitzing a lot and getting a lot of pressure. And that's just like the one worry you still have. When pressured so far, he's 6 of 21 passing. But you keep him clean, like he'll push the ball. Like that's what he wants to do as a quarterback and as a prospect. So if you can keep him clean, he's going to take his shots. And he has he has legit arm strength. Like he can actually throw the football. It's just the whole thing here is that can he stay clean in this game Atlanta 13th in pressure rate, second in blitz rate. And also 52% of their blitzes get pressure, which is third in the league. So it's like they're not one of these teams that's like blitzing for the hell of it. Like their blitzes are effective. So yeah, so this is just one of the spots. I think there's some volatility here, but they're home favorites because the Falcons are in this just like sad, horrible state of affairs right now. I mean, the Falcons, think about this, like, what is it? 2 of their past 3 games we've seen them, or no, 2 of the past 4. They got absolutely just gashed by Tua, and then they got absolutely gashed by Bryce Young. Like,
right.
like, so, I mean, who's to say? Like, that's not like, yeah, like,
I know this is a more difficult setup, but for Shuck, but the Falcons have been very like boom bust, you know.
mhm.
They've turned in some really, really strong performances. But like you beat the Bills and you lost to the Dolphins, although the Bills also lost to the Dolphins, but you know,
And that was a Kirk Cousins game too, but like the defense was objectively terrible that game.
right, right. Yeah, and that's really what it is. It's like I mean, and they've lost twice now to the Panthers, but they, lost 30-0 the first game. So they kind of play this high variance style, I think, on defense with all the blitzing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think, there is some upside here for the Saints. At the same time, you could see Shuck melt down. I mean, his success
Yeah,
rate has been very poor. And so, yeah, this could be a spot where no one does anything.
correct. He wouldn't be someone I'm not like. He would just be like 2 QB.
Oh yeah,
You have to play a guy.
it's can he support Olave is really what it comes.
Correct.
I'm not that interested in Juwan Johnson here. I just don't think he has much upside in this matchup. Um, he runs a lot of routes, so I guess season long stuff, sure.
Mhm.
Kamara, they're a little Chiefs ish. Dude, it would have been so funny if they traded for Brees Hall. But they could kind of use him. Like they need explosiveness. And the Falcons are a pretty big run funnel right now, and they're not good against the run. They're 25th in DVOA, 27th in EPA, 29th in success rate. You can run on them. The problem is that Kamara, he's coming off 59% carry share to Devin Neal's 11%, but like his rushing profile is so bad. It's
Mhm.
just no like consistency, burst, explosiveness, tackle breaking, like none of it's there. Even as a receiver, he's running back 35 in yards per route run. Like it's really rough, but I don't see how they don't just like give him a bunch of touches. So if you're like in the, I'm starting Alvin Kamara in a season long league game, I think this is one of the weeks you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's tough to take a bite on in that price range we talked about for DFS because since
Ceiling.
Taysom Hill's come back, he has every rushing attempt inside the 5-yard line. So
What is the deal with that?
it's just
He survived like 3 different regimes with this crap.
yeah. So even if
Three
you
and a half.
even if you're getting kind of the run out for Kamara, like if they get inside you might not get a touchdown still. So
Yeah.
like it's just I always have to worry about that. Like yeah, since Taysom's come back, every single rushing attempt inside the 5, like,
Come on. What are we doing?
and they barely get in there. So like you can't, you're like
Right.
yeah,
So Taysom Hill's had 1 rushing attempt then?
it's like I think it's 3 or 4. But
3.
it's like yeah, but
Golly.
Kamara is 0. Kamara hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1.
That used to be this thing. When Herzig won
Yeah.
BBM, he had what, 5 touchdowns that 1 week? 6?
Yeah,
Crazy.
The Christmas Day game. Then everyone knows the Christmas Day
Yeah.
miracle game against the Vikings.
Yeah. Falcons side, we have Kirk Cousins. He's played really badly. If you look at the last 2 years, so here's this year. Penix has been like totally fine in like kind of the Brissett range. Like maybe you're not like excited about it, but it's not been like the wheels have not fallen off. Cousins kind of down here with Shuck. The Shuck was really bad in his first start and it's been better recently, but like below Andy Dalton and Davis Mills and Joe Flacco and Russell Wilson. So not great. But last 2 years combined, he's not so bad. He's still worse than Penix, but I don't know. Like, could we get some of the 2024 Kirk Cousins? That would be a pretty big improvement. And I don't know if it's there anymore. And also at the end of last year, he was horrible. So it's really like the beginning of last year. Can
And Drake
he
London's not
recapture
playing.
that? And Drake London's not playing. So
He is
we can't.
he has one touchdown pass over his past 217 passes in the NFL.
Oh man, that's a lot of passes. How many games is that?
I
I mean,
tweeted that. It's like a 9-game sample. Like I tweeted it and someone was like, "You're not counting the pick sixes," and I said, "You're right." Yeah. But yeah, I went back and looked because I was like, man, like I was like, holy shit! Like at the end of last year, like he didn't throw any touchdowns either. And then I was like, oh wow! I was like, yeah, 217. I went back and one touchdown. I really think they're gonna try to just hide him. Like they're just gonna try to run Bijan as much as they
yeah,
can. Uh, like and hopefully they can stay with it. The Saints probably don't run away from them, so like the Dolphins did a couple weeks ago. So they'll probably. I think they have to with no London, like because London didn't play in that game either. They got to try to run the football more than they did that game against Dolphins. Uh, they're averaging 4.2 yards per play with Kirk Cousins on the field. It's really rough. But
yeah. Kyle
it's
Pitts,
just
I
Bijan
think is
Robinson, right? Like you can
Kyle
do
Pitts. I
some
think could be a
Kyle
little.
Pitts floor stuff.
Yeah,
I can get with
there's.
it. I wrote Mooney up as just saying like I think this is just the Jerry Jeudy situation.
I compared it more to Michael Wilson, where it's like because you do have the first read targets open up so much, so you could get. I don't expect him to spike like Michael Wilson, but you never expect a Michael Wilson to spike like Michael Wilson
That's
just
true.
did.
We had a
Um,
sample. He did play the game with Kirk Cousins against the Dolphins.
that's true. And let me pull that up because I don't think he did much.
No, he had one catch for four targets.
Mooney, do I not have the? Oh yeah, Mooney had a 3% first read target rate, so the first reads did not go to him.
It's for
13% targets per outrun. He's been out there, man. He's been
he's
out there.
been
They got
out
to go
there.
somewhere. They
He
got to go
did go
somewhere.
somewhere. I mean, it is. I mean, Saints have allowed some wide receiver one production. If you get back at it, so did the Dolphins coming into that time. So it's just like it's a thin week. I get it. I'm probably not going to play him in DFS because Kirk Cousins has been so bad. But
I don't
if
think I
you,
am either. Yeah, Pitts
eh,
ultimately was the guy. I kind of wrote it up as like, this could be this week's Michael Wilson type of thing where like he's been out there. They just like
correct.
decide that getting him the ball makes sense. They've talked a little bit positively about him, but I kind of later in the write up, I was like, the problem with comparing this to the Cardinals is that the Cardinals just passed a bazillion times last year, and the Falcons are going to run the ball.
Yeah. And we had a
So
sample of like Brissett actually like functionally playing okay.
right,
And
right,
like this just takes a leap of faith in every avenue. Every
it
box we
really
check
does.
it just takes a step of faith.
Yeah, at least Pitts gives you like I have Pitts in a season long lineup right now, and I don't know, I don't feel great about it, but it's fine.
And I get it if you have to play Mooney as like a wide receiver 3 flex. I totally
Sure,
understand. Like I get
sure.
it.
But yeah, he's not like that cheap in DFS. We talked about like the gross receivers like a AD Mitchell and stuff, or Luther Burden. But like I think I like Luther Burden more than Mooney straight up, and Mooney is
Probably.
quite a bit more expensive. So you know he is 4,800, so he's 1,200 more
He's the same price as
than
Mike
Luther
Wilson.
Burden. Right, and you're playing Wilson
Yeah, I mean it's just and if he got there, like I wouldn't be like totally like flabbergasted, like if he had like 60 yards and a touchdown. But I don't think he's gonna like go crazy because I just think they're gonna try to run as much as possible.
for sure.
Like
Um,
that has to be what it's built out of. Like Kirk Cousins can't move, he can't throw downfield.
do you have much interest in Bijan here from DFS perspective?
I
He's
I
8,500.
I initially was, and like he's tracking to be like one of the top 2 highest projected owned
Right.
guys, and like that. Now I'm like, oh wow, the field is just like so dead set that he can't fail with Kirk Cousins. I'm like, I don't know,
I
maybe I
like
don't
Gibbs more
play.
for sure.
I do too. I also like Gibbs more.
Yeah. But
I mean, I might even like Derrick Henry more, to be honest. But you get the pass catching with Bijan.
I like Bijan better than Henry, but
But I do like Gibbs. Like I would prioritize Gibbs the most.
Gibbs might be my favorite running back play of the week, to be honest. So
Yeah, I think he's mine too, as well. So we can go down this road together. Thelma and Louise this shit.
hopefully.
I mean, he was terrible the first game that they played, but if you go back to last year, even when Cousins was trash, he was still okay. Like it was just the Dolphins game like this year where you're like, how much do we lean into that being static? He had 12 touches for 48 yards. But in the small sample last year before Cousins was benched and Cousins wasn't doing any of that, like he went over 100 total yards in all three of Cousins' last games before he was benched. So, and against the Saints, like I figure the Saints don't get completely away. They're going to try. They're at least going to try to give him the football a lot.
For sure. All right, let's close it out with the Eagles at Cowboys. The Eagles defense, we should probably start there. How impressed are you with what they've been doing?
It's back to last year. Like this defense is good enough to win them games. Even when they like it's so good.
They better be the one winning them games.
Yeah, but
the offense isn't.
Having Jalen Carter back and healthy, getting Nakobe Dean back and healthy, adding the Jalen Phillips trade, like that's going to look so good. And like when we get to the playoffs, like that third round pick for Jalen Phillips, and it's just really hard here from a DFS because like your season long stuff, you're largely playing your stars. Like you're not benching George Pickens, you're not benching CeeDee Lamb, but like from a ceiling perspective, from like a DFS stance, it's hard to justify the salaries for these players, even even if they have okay to good games. Like they have to have like bona fide great games at the salaries, and it's hard to say that they're going to have those against the Eagles. Like CeeDee Lamb he doesn't even have one 25-point game. And like, do we expect that here? Pickens is 2 30-point games, but like, do we expect that here? Like, so the salaries are all juiced up on these guys.
The upside, I think, is named Adoree Jackson, and he's not very good. He's the second outside corner.
And that's who they attacked in the first game.
Yeah. So among 104 qualifying corners, Cooper DeJean, who plays in the slot, is 14th best in yards allowed per coverage snap. Quinyon Mitchell ranks 18th. Adoree Jackson, who was benched at one point but is back, ranks 95th.
And I thought when they traded for Michael Carter, like they would just move DeJean back outside or play Michael Carter, and Michael Carter hasn't played.
DeJean's been really good in the slot, so I think they want to.
Yeah,
maybe I think
maybe that was just if we need to go to it type of thing.
That makes sense. I did this a little bit ahead of the Broncos game when this didn't work, right? But like I had some faith that because of these two number ones that
they were both solid in the Denver game.
They were. Dak wasn't. Dak was pretty inefficient. Yeah,
and he's been bad in every game against a good defense this year, except for the Packers game.
And the Eagles have a good pass rush. They're fourth in quick pressure rate, so it could be like a similar thing where maybe Pickens and Lamb are okay, and you don't bench them and bench them in season long, but they don't have like the ceiling because Dak doesn't really go off. That's probably
you get
most likely
7 for 80 or something. You're just
7 for 80.
Maybe you get a touchdown.
Totally. But it's just tough to see like the big spike weeks because of Dak. But at the same time, they should be pushed at least a decent amount. It's tough to say if the Eagles are even pushing people though. They're with the Cowboys, like the Eagles have not been pushing people. They could push the Cowboys because the Cowboys defense is bad, but will they even be capable of that is what I'm trying to spit out. And I'm not sure they will be. It really comes down to Saquon probably because the Cowboys are very bad against the run. They're dead last in rushing success rate, 29th in DVOA, 29th in EPA. So can Saquon get going here with Lane Johnson out? The passing game feels very speculative at this point.
And the Cowboys in general, I mean, they essentially have 5 new starters on defense because of the players they got back out of the bye and then the 2 trades. They traded for Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson. Then they get Malik Hooker back. They get Donovan Wilson back, and they get Overshown back. The Eagles
was really good.
Yeah, I mean, before the trade, he was like PFF's #1 rated run defender. Like,
but he was pressuring last week.
And he had a bunch of pressures. So the Eagles have run 153 plays this year without Lane Johnson on the field. They average 4.2 yards per play on those snaps. They'd be ahead of only the Browns on the season. Saquon Barkley has run the ball 51 times without Lane Johnson on the field for 140 yards. It's 2.7 yards per carry. He has 2 runs of 10 or more yards on those plays. And it's not even like he was incredible with Lane Johnson on the field, but he goes to 4.2 yards per carry up to an 11.3% run rate of 10 or more yards on the field on those 124 attempts. So it is still a seismic difference on those sample sizes as well. We don't know if Cam Jurgens is going to play too. I didn't see that one coming into the show, but it's like they might be down 2 offensive linemen as well. And like the Cowboys are just a team. Like I need more sample size with this defense to lean in on any of their season long stuff or anything they did against or anything they did against the Raiders. Like I don't believe any of that either. So like I just need more. I just need to see more.
You don't believe they're just absolutely dominant now?
No, I don't.
Did you see the quote from AJ Brown where someone asked him like, people are just speculation you're not the same player anymore?
Dude, someone needs to get, if I'm AJ Brown's agent, like you got to get microphones away from this dude. Like,
should he do the Shador where he just mimes things? Are you in favor of miming?
I mean, if I'm a reporter, I'm asking him a bunch of weird shit. But like, if I'm like an agent,
they didn't say, how do you think Saquon's done this year? They say, have you fallen off? He's like, I guess Saquon ain't the same player either then, which is kind of, I mean, I'm team AJ Brown with all this stuff, by the way. Like, he's right. This offense, it's the coordinator's not been impressive.
Oh no, we're approaching a TO zone here for this.
Get him the Patriots. Get him the Patriots. I just want him to play with Drake May.
I think he is extra pissed off about not being traded. I think he was kind of hoping he would be.
I think he will be this offseason unless this gets turned around.
I mean, the Eagles are weird because a lot of people compare them to like the Chiefs teams that kind of meandered their way through on defense. And like, but the difference between this is I swear to God, none of these Eagles are enjoying playing football this year. Like, no. I don't think anyone the vibes are like legitimately like all time bad. Like
it's Seahawks. I don't think it's Chiefs. I think it's Seahawks. Like it's Russell Wilson-y, right? It's like we can't feature the quarterback. We have this style of play where we get production.
I brought this up with Ray on our show. Like, when's the last play you can remember like an Eagles pass catcher like running with the football on the field? Like, I can't even think of a play, dude. Like, all their stuff is hitches.
Goddard has yak.
It's just hitches and go routes. This is like all they run.
Yeah.
Nothing creative to get the guys like, because AJ Brown's whole bread and butter for his career was like operating like you get this dude on like a dig or a slant and like you can't tackle him.
Totally.
And
he's a yak guy. I mean, he can do everything, but he's awesome after the catch.
And all their yak that Devontae Smith and AJ Brown have are when they just catch a vertical ball that they're behind someone on.
Right. Right.
And they're playing a team that's just going to play zone coverage the entire game again, like they did in week 1. I will say, like, if you do look at it objectively, like the Cowboys, even if you believe that their defense could be better moving forward, the still weakest part of this unit right now, the defense side of the ball, these cornerbacks, and you would say like we would still want to attack them. The first time these teams played, Jalen Hurts had his lowest target rate to wide receivers in his career. And we kind of talked about it that week. I was like, it'll be a one-off, Matt Everfluss played a lot of zone, and like we're just at this state, they just don't do anything creative.
Yeah, I mean, they did go to man the 1 week against Commanders, but that's because they were just like, we don't respect your receivers at all, and it worked. But other than that, yeah, they're very zone heavy. I mean, you can say that because it's true, right? It's factually true that the weak part, a weakness to attack on the Cowboys defense is the cornerbacks. Will that be what the Eagles do? Because I think this run defense is also a weak point that you can talk yourself into. And over the last 4 games, pass rates of 52, 53, 50, and 47%, and often fighting game script to get there. We did see them go pass heavy against the Broncos. That was a very competitive game. They went pass heavy in the first matchup with the Giants, which they were trailing in. But when they're playing the game they want to play, we're seeing them go run heavy very, very consistently. And I think that's what they're going to do. I think that's what they're going to do.
At least if you do Jalen Hurts stuff, that Hurts and both Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are relatively cheap. So at least you can talk yourself into that.
I think it's a single though.
Yeah. Oh God.
Not doubling.
I mean,
Not
Hurts
ugly.
in the first game had his highest scramble rate because it was just he saw nothing and all the first read
Right.
stuff got taken away, so he just ran. Had his highest scramble rate of his career in that game in week 1. There's some signal stuff for Devontae Smith if you believe in it. I would probably lean him, but they might just do the thing where they overly force the ball to AJ Brown again. So
Yeah, I don't know that. Like that's what they did last week, and it didn't work. And then,
it feels like it's a cycle, right? Like AJ Brown doesn't get targeted. He says something through some social media back channel. They overly target him. Then the next week they don't. It's like it's just like
yeah, but what happens when that happened? Then they overly targeted him. He had a 35% first read target rate last week, the highest of the season. That ties Devontae Smith's high for the season. They like really, really try to get him the ball. Um, it didn't work though. He had 1.58 yards per out run, and then he made another comment this week about how I guess Saquon's fallen off. Like, they does it happen again, or is it like we tried it and now we're going back to Devontae?
Yeah, I don't know, but all the stuff for this matchup, the underlying stuff is bad, and it sucks because you see Cowboys at home. Like these are
Right.
spots we've attacked the whole season. But Jalen Hurts has been one of the worst, players against one of the worst passers against zone coverage this year. He's 17th in completion rate, 22nd yards per pass attempt, 18th in touchdown rate. He's bad with Lane Johnson off the field. On his dropbacks, he's only completed 57.6% of the passes with Lane Johnson off the field, 6.8 yards per pass attempt. Those would be 33rd and 22nd if they were full season stats. But again, Cowboys at home. Like that's all we're hanging on to, right? Is that not it? Like that's all we're
That's it. Yeah. Do you have much interest in the home running back, Javonte Williams, here?
No, because he's meandered into the zone we talked about with Judkins a little bit and thing. Like
Yeah.
he's not getting any catches. He has
Yep.
19 receiving yards over his past 6 games. He has had 1 catch in 5 of the past 6 games. And then we talked about earlier Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter didn't play in the first game because he ejected after the kickoff. But they've now faced 144 runs with Carter on the field. They've only allowed 3.6 yards per carry, 0.97 yards before contact on those runs. Like you got to get touchdowns out of Javonte because he's not catching passes.
Yeah, he's had over the last 3 weeks 6, 3, and 3% target share. So they're just not involving him.
This is a crazy game because it's like you see this and you're like Cowboys Eagles in Dallas. Yes. That's your initial reaction, right? Just
Your
when you
initial
hear
reaction,
those.
yeah, this is like marquee. I don't know who's doing the coverage, but it'll be one of the top announcing teams.
Yeah, but like when you start digging under the hood, you're just like the objective upside is like kind of low. And I
Right.
actually could see even if the Cowboys score like 21, 24 points because of the salaries on the Dallas side, it's hard to say like, well, what kind of games do those guys have to have? Because if you're going to play CeeDee Lamb, that means you're foregoing like an Amon-Ra,
No thanks.
right?
No, if
Like that's we talked about this a little bit last week with the Chargers guys. Like it was like, oh, there's some intrigue here. Maybe we could play Lad. And it's like, well, if you play Lad, you can't play any of these other guys. That's kind of where we are. If like you want to play George Pickens, like you can't play Rashee Rice, like or sorry,
right.
Stephon Diggs, like
Yeah, and yeah, it's just tough. I mean, you could see them getting there to an extent, but Pickens at 6,900,
but like for
it's
a
tough to
tournament
see
score,
for a tournament score. Yeah, I
that's I
think
think
there's other
season
options.
long you just roll them out because with the Denver game, they both had solid games still. But for spike weeky stuff, it's hard to really justify. They're gonna definitely try to move Lamb around. They did that in the first game
Yeah, but
to
moving
try
him
to get him
around
away.
doesn't help that much here.
I mean, he
It's
had
actually
13
like being
targets.
outside is depending on which guy you get. But
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he has what 125-point game. It's just tough, man, because we should be excited. We should be excited.
so we did close with a bummer of a game ultimately.
I mean, are you still gonna try to force this one at all? Like
I don't think so.
one single entry.
I don't think I am. If I was, it'd be Hurts
That's
with
would
one
be
of the
Hurts
receivers.
Devontae Smith, I think, would be the one thing I could talk myself into because you can at least get the pushing of the tushing and the maybe one run out for the receiver.
That feels the most prudent way to do it. Hurts AJ Brown is the more bonkers way to go, which
Yeah.
I find appealing on some level.
Because
And
Hurts is
then
affordable, at least. And like
yeah,
as bad as he's been, like he still has scored fantasy points.
I mean the tush pushing helps.
It
And
does help.
we gotta get the tush pushing fantasy points in the lineup before they ban it this year. Don't run it 4 times in a row if you don't want it to get banned, you know? That's what was it against? This was like a month ago now, but
Well, yeah, especially if they're gonna not officiate it correctly either.
oh,
So.
dude, I hate it. I hate the false start thing. It's so easy to see, right?
Do you
Like
remember when they played the Vikings and the Vikings just had that guy lay down, like that one defender coming in and just lay down before the tush push?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And he was a practice squad guy. He got called up to be the laydown
Incredible.
guy.
Absolutely incredible. Imagine that as
Flores,
like
man.
telling your family, like, I'm up this week. Watch the game.
Wow,
Watch the
no,
game.
Flores is like trying to get back in, the head coaching circles, and part of the issue before was like him not being a real players guy. So calling up a practice squad lineman and having him lay down while everyone steps on him, maybe not reputationally the best move.
But it's just it's just a tricky game, man, for fantasy purposes because
It
the
is.
Lane Johnson injury, Dallas shakeup on defense, the fact that the Eagles have been trying to ice skate uphill the entire season, like it's just
Yeah, it's just frustrating because they're like it's very Packersy, or like they're pounding the rock, but they're not that efficient at doing it. And they were pretty efficient last year, so it feels like it should be more fun than it actually is. But the defense is so good, they're just going to keep playing this way, and it's probably going to keep working mostly.
and yeah, I
And
mean, because the defense is legitimately
the
absolutely
defense is what
top.
we thought the Packers might be, right? The defense is actually awesome. So and it's like getting better and better. So all right. We should mention next week is Thanksgiving. And it's looking like we're gonna take the week off, is where things we'll let you know if that changes, but we're going to plan to take the week off next week. Our writing schedule is a little bit different because we cover all the games, and so I do the Thursday slate is its own write up, and then the walkthrough comes out a day later than usual. So I won't even have the walkthrough done by when we normally record. So that makes it
Yeah.
tougher. And then with everything going on, it's tough to get another recording time set up.
If you do want
So
to see us, we probably will be together on Wednesday night.
Wednesday night ship chasing, check it out. We do our ships giving every week, every year for the Thanksgiving week. And yeah, Reeves is going to be joining hopefully, and we're just going to be hanging out
Daigle's
there.
usually the star of that one.
Daigle is usually the star, not always intentionally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you want to go from that one because the real star is Spags. He has been throwing out gems every year. You wanted whoever the dude Spags is on, you need to have exposure to.
Spags has literally called it exactly right every time. Josh Reynolds, he called the spike week on the
He
Thanksgiving
had
slate. So
I'm trying to think of who he had last year. I forget what the games even were last year, but like he was on, yeah, he was on the Josh Reynolds week. He was on the Christian Watson week the one year.
it's always
Um,
something gross that you think can't possibly hit, and then it hits.
yeah, so you gotta tune in for the Spags play of the week for Thanksgiving.
But yeah, we're gonna be kicking back, hanging out for it's a little bit it's raucous, unorganized, and fun. So check that out. We will have some entertainment for you next week. But otherwise, good luck in week 12. Hope to see you top of the leaderboards, and hope to join you as well with some of these plays. All right, see you then. Later.